Good evening, everyone. Welcome on session one of your SBL revision. Whenever the pre-scene comes out, what majority, not just you, but everybody who's going to be writing SBL, they're only interested in one thing: what is going to come in the exam. Because if the pre-scene wasn't out and this was an unseen, then students don't worry about that. They don't really worry too much about what will come in the exam. When I will prepare you for this, I just want to let you know two things. Number one, I have this tendency to predict, so I will predict. Although it's not something which we should be doing, but I will be predicting, okay? Because it's just been so many years of training this paper that when it just comes naturally. And I'm reading something, I see, oh, I've seen something like this in one of the papers earlier. This could be so-and-so question and something. So that will tend to happen. But a word of caution, fall for it, but little. Don't fall for it too much. Okay. The second thing, just kidding. The second thing I want to say is that uh, your mocks will also be unseen for you. So when you're going to do the two mocks here, they will also be unseen for you. So it is quite possible that when you're writing the exam, there were maybe 60 or 70% of the questions were like, yeah, we did something on similar lines. Of course, it won't be word to word the same. But 30% of the exam or 40% of the exam was like, oh gosh, never seen that before. It shouldn't be a case that you lose. It shouldn't be a case where you give up. While you're you're going to do two mocks, which are going to be 100% unseen to you. I haven't done anything from this pre-scene before the pre-scene has come out. You have practiced, and most of the case studies which you have practiced are for-profit organizations. Your interim was also on a case which was a for-profit. So the skill here is that we should know how to write a good answer, how to produce a good answer. Yes, there will be unseen areas. It's just something where, psychologically you feel more comfortable when you see something coming up which you have done in the past. So you relatively feel more confident. And when you see something very different turn up, you're like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? So that's not how you have to react to that question. If something comes out from the blue, which was not expected, which was something which you did not practice, or it was something which I did not predict, please don't waste your energies and time into where was this, which syllabus was this. No, it's all there. It's all going to be there in the exhibit. You just need to produce a good answer. Okay. And that is going to make a difference between a pass and a fail. Let me also tell you this. Okay. All right. Now, as you can see here, our pass rates have been consistently high. The point of showing you this is not to tell you that there's a lot of pressure on you to produce this sort of pass rates. I'm confident that you will get this. There's uh, no denial in this. The point of showing you this is that the global pass rate will remain the same. It will be around this only. So this is something which I want to tell you in advance. So your paper will not be more difficult than the papers which have come in the past. And they're also not going to be easier than the ones which have come in the past. The difficulty level, like the interim you did, so you got an idea what an exam question is like, because what you did was an exam paper. Yeah, in the interim, what you did was an exam paper, a real exam paper. Okay. So you have an idea of what it was like, and it was your first time, of course, doing all 100 marks together. And we've covered a lot of case studies. I'm sure by now you have gone through all the case studies. That should not be pending at this stage, because if you ask me, Taha, what case studies, my answer will be no. Your focus should only be HP, and that's it. At this stage, you're not going back again and saying, oh, like, can I go and watch your videos again from those previous past case studies? I'm going to say, no, this is your last 10 days. Just focus on HP as much as we can. So this is how we will be going about our sessions. Tonight's session is where I will read the pre-scene to you. and I will share my thought process with you as well. So yes, I may end up doing a lot of predictions tonight. Will everything turn up? No, not everything will turn up. Alaikum assalam. How are you? Long time. Good to see you. Okay, so you don't have to think that, oh, I will only study these areas. Okay, some of those areas I might test you in the mock also. That is also possible. We've already started to work on your first mock. Hopefully by tomorrow or day after it will be completed so that you can do that in your session 3, which will be on Monday. Because it takes some time to write it, check it, review it, then it goes to test reach. Uploading it on test reach is another episode. But anyways, so on Saturday, very quickly, I want to tell you what we're going to do. So I've told you about tonight's session. On the Saturday session, I'm going to go in detail. So whatever I'll be predicting today, I'm just going to introduce those areas to you today. But on Saturday, we'll go in more detail of that. Okay. And maybe I'll try to give you 1 or 2 questions to write also. I'll give you like 40 minutes, right? Okay. And then I'll show you my answer. So I'll try to prepare you for the mock. That's how I break it down. So I'll prepare you for mock 1, then I prepare you for mock 2, and then you go into the exam happily. That, okay, we've done 2 mocks, we've done them under exam conditions. Okay, this is a 3rd mock now. So I don't want you to take it like an exam. I want to take it like a mock 3. So if you're like, okay, it's maybe Taha is the marker only for this. Just think of it like that. Okay. So session 3, you do mock 1. Between your session 3 and session 4, I'll be marking and of course giving you feedback on mock 1, provided you write good enough for me to give you feedback. If you don't write enough, there is no feedback. Of course, there has to be some substance to give you feedback on. Then you come on to session 4, where we will cover the minor areas of the syllabus. The areas towards the end, like IT, marketing, and project management. So we'll try to apply all those syllabus areas onto this pre-scene, that if these topics get tested here, how will they be tested? What could those areas be? So a lot of research is what we will be doing in these days over HP and similar charities out there in the UK, because this looks like a UK based charity. They've changed the names, of course. They've come up with this funny name for this country. I don't know why can't they give it easy names, B land, C land, Arcadia, something like that. Why does it have to be something as tough as I don't even know, ear something? It's something to do with the ears. Yeah. Ireland, I think. Yeah. So then we will have your mock 2. And this final session is going to be more driven by all of you. You've done 2 mocks. You've gone through the review sessions. So your Q&As, can this come? Can that come? If this comes in the exam, then what should we write? And, it's going to be more on those lines. The what if, what if this comes and what if that comes? So just being prepared for all different situations. Because the exam has got variants. Yeah, the exam has multiple variants. It's better we prepare for anything and everything. Yes, as I said, the tendency will be there. If I see this in the paragraph, this could come in the exam. That tendency will be there. But at the same time, other areas, that's why the examining team has got exhibits. They can change the direction of the case with the help of these exhibits. So maybe these pre-scenes are making us think in one direction, and when the exhibits come to us, you'll be like, oh, they've completely changed the storyline here. So this is a possibility, and we have to prepare ourselves for this. Okay, let's start. The first half of the pre-scene is going to focus on the charity industry and how money is collected and how money is spent and how the regulation works. All of that is in here. You need the paper. You have it? Okay. And the second half will focus on the charity itself, on the organization. So we'll get a good amount of information in here. One thing I want to tell you here, and I'm predicting even before I have even started to read, if I compare this with the last 4 or 5 cases which have been tested, governance has been a very undermined area so far. Okay, if I look at events management company and tech transport and vet clinic, governance has not been tested, and if it was very small area of the of the exam, I would say. In most of these exams, it has been almost completely ignored. Okay. And here, there is governance this time. And you can download some of your previous pre-scenes. You can find them easily. You will not find this mentioned. You will not find this mentioned. So my gut says that strategy is going to be a small area in this exam. Governance will be a big area in this exam. Because all this while, the examining team has focused a lot on strategy. So for example, when we were an airline, do we launch business class or do we fly to more destinations? When we were cloud computing, do we launch more services? Evaluate that opportunity. When we were a football club, do we buy players or do we invest in a new ground? Vet clinic, do we open up to more animals treatments or we focus on opening more branches? Tech transport, do we acquire another company or we just keep the same business but add more services like food delivery and all of those other services? Events management, similar. Do we launch new events? It's been on very similar lines across. The focus has been mainly on adding new services, acquiring another business, launching something in another country. It's been in that direction. And that's where strategy comes in. That's where you have to evaluate an opportunity, SFA, use of SFA. Okay, most of these areas were SFA because we were being expected to evaluate such opportunities. This time, I feel there's a strong, strong case of governance because you've got board of trustees and then you have a management board. So it looks like governance in a charity is very important because if governance is weak, then none of us are going to give our donations to a charity where governance is not solid, rock solid. Okay, so very wow, yeah, lot of familiar faces. Good to see. Good. Yeah. You're taking me back to 2024, yeah. Good. Nice to see you. Okay, let's make a start. So HP is a charity which operates in this country of ERDG. I don't know, I can't even give this a short form. It aims to preserve historical sites in ERDG. Nothing much I can take out from there. It's just that it is a charity. And like I said, in any charity, governance is crucial. So we are interested in what are their policies and procedures, their internal controls, and their risk management becomes extremely important. Whatever I'm writing in this sheet will be saved and this will go onto the LMS. So you can always take a printout with my annotations as well, whatever I'm writing on this. Overview of the charitable sector. So charitable organizations promote the welfare of society and public interest. They carry out many different activities, including helping the sick and disabled, providing poverty relief and education, preserving history and campaigning on issues affecting society. Charities raise funds through various methods, including donations by those who support their work and commercial activities. So charities can engage in commercial activities, but the purpose is not commercial. The purpose is welfare. Okay. The charitable sector includes large national charities and smaller charities which operate on a single site. Now we will have to check whether which category are we falling in. We operate in the country of Rhodesia. So we need to see if we are a small charity or a large charity. Our operation is restricted to one country. We are not an international charity. We are a local charity. We are a national charity. Now, what we need to check is, are we like a very big charity or are we a very small charity? Now, one other thing which we need to remind ourselves of is that our objective as an organization is definitely not profit maximization because we don't have shareholders as such. We have donors. Yeah, they are the people who will give us money. or members, if you want to call them members. But we are not going to distribute dividends back to these members or these donors. So that is not the expectation from the stakeholder in this case. What I want you to understand here is most of you know that there is no profit maximization as an objective, but what you should also know is that this doesn't mean that they don't have financial objectives. They do have financial objectives. So charities will have financial objectives. For example, they will have a target for cost cutting. So how much cost do they need to cut over the next year, for example? Or they might also have a target in terms of how much donations they need to raise. Okay, there might be a target that for next year, this is our target amount which we need to raise. So this is a financial objective. This is a financial goal. The only difference is that it's not profit. The focus is not profit. Okay. There's something in the chat. I think it's a large. Yeah, I mean, I'm reading it from here, Mohammed. So I'm trying to act as if I'm just starting to read from fresh. So I will keep it like that. Yeah. Okay. Um, the other thing is that when charities report their financials, they don't show revenue and cost. The way they present is, all their incomes. So you'll see 1, 2, and 3, whatever their sources of incomes are. And they will do the same thing for expenses as well, right? Just like how they will show incomes in the same manner, they will show their expenses as well, that these are our top 3, top 4, 5 expenses. And then in the end, they'll do an income minus expense. They'll tell us whether they have a surplus. So profit is called a surplus for a not-for-profit, or they have a deficit, okay, which is of course a loss. Now, if they have a deficit, they will go back to the guarantors, the people who gave guarantees that if they take a loan to fill that deficit or anything, they have a liability to settle. So here I am, I give you guarantee this charity will not default and we will help them if they face any difficulty. Okay, that's what a guarantor does. It's like when your friend goes and applies for a loan and the bank does not trust your friend and tells your friend that go bring a guarantor, and then you go there and say, I'm giving guarantee this person is reliable and give loan to this person. If this X person runs away, then you have to repay his money back because you took guarantee for that one person. That if this person doesn't settle the liability, I will. It's the same thing with charities. Okay, some rich individuals, elite people might end up backing them, that I also believe in what they do. So to support them in doing their work, I will offer you my guarantees that they will operate well. Okay. Charities legal position. Charities in Indonesia are often set up as companies limited by guarantee. So you can see this here. A company limited by guarantee does not have any shares or shareholders. It is underwritten by guarantors who guarantee to pay a specified amount of money to help settle its debts only in the event of insolvency. So if you're shutting down, only in that case. Surpluses, so if you have extra money, you are not going to go to the guarantors and say, here you go, these are your dividends. Like I said, they are not our shareholders. They are not our shareholders. They don't own the charity. So surpluses are not distributed to the guarantors, but they are invested in the charity to help promote its charitable objectives. Okay. So if you've got some good years where you had cash surpluses, then you better either keep it, store it, or invest it, in improving welfare. Okay. And if you're saving it, save it for your bad days, because you will then need those surpluses in your bad days when you have deficits. Charity activities are determined by the governing document, which is the Constitution. So I will be happily waiting in the exam for an exhibit which brings information about this Constitution. what is in this constitution, what is an extract of this constitution, and maybe there's something which we haven't abided by. Many charities raise funds by means of surpluses from commercial activities. So they've given an example. For example, running shops. Commercial activities are carried out through subsidiary companies which charities wholly own. We've seen this in Dubai also. I'm sure you've heard of Dar Al Bar Society. So what Dar Al Bar Society does is it owns some of the buildings, and whatever rent they collect from those buildings, from shops or apartments, they will run charitable activities with that. So this way they don't rely on, they do get donations. So if you go on the website, for example, if you right now go and check Dar Al Bar or Emirates Red Crescent, you can go on their website and they'll say there's a project like Sukia, for example, for water well. Any country where there are, there's no water, we'll dig a well for you, and people can benefit from that. Build a house for homeless, or someone you want to arrange education or food. Let's say you want to sponsor meals for you can do all that. But these are maybe one-offs. The scale of charity they are doing is not a couple of hundreds or thousands. They're doing it in the scale of millions. So they don't want to rely totally on our donations, you see. So they've created these revenue streams. Yeah, these revenue streams. Okay. Now, another example I can give you, because we all live here in this country for quite some time, so maybe you guys can connect with this. I'm sure you've seen a lot of masjids in Dubai, okay? And outside every mosque or masjid, you will see two shops, okay? So if you're thinking how this thing runs, whatever rent, so here you have Okaf, that is the charitable affairs, which manages all the religious sites. So although historical places does not manage religious sites, okay? But I'm just giving you an example. Whatever rent comes out of those buildings, the electricity, water bill of the masjid, the salary of the people who do the prayers there will be given out of that, okay? So you make the charity self-sufficient then, that you don't have to go out, ask people, give us money, give us money, give us money. You have some form of commercial activities, and from those commercial activities, you're able to monetize, you're able to earn some income and use it for that purpose. Is that making sense? Okay, good. Now we have some regulations. So charities in Rhodesia are regulated by the Charity Supervisory Board, established by the central government. Guys, I'll try to skip the name. I just hate this name. Okay, so I'm just going to keep skipping this name. The CSB aims to ensure that the general public can be confident that donations to charities will be used for proper charitable purposes. So in most of the developed countries, regulations are very, very strong for charities, because you don't want this money to be misused. You don't want this money to go for something wrong. Okay. I remember a couple of years ago, we wanted to, it's when it's very hot. So we wanted to, as friends, we decided we want to put refrigerators in different nooks and corners of the city. And we will make a body of people who will sponsor those refrigerators, who can go and put meals and water especially into those refrigerators. The process is amazing. You have to go to the regulator. You have to apply for a permit. They will ask you for a brief, that what are you doing? How are you going to do this? And where are you going to get the money from? What are your expenses? Everything. If they don't find it very useful or sustainable, they will abandon it. They'll say, no, there's something already happening out there. You don't need to do this. You find something else where you can add more value. But if your idea is something which they will like, then they will give you an approval. Let's say Ramadan, in another few days, Ramadan is starting. Let's say one of you says, I want to distribute meals and I want to do it on my own. You can't do it like that. You cannot do it like that, that I will go out and I will start distributing meals. You can't do it like that. You have to first apply for a permission. What if people eat your food and they get food poisoning? Then what happens? It doesn't work like this. You have to go to a regulator. You will take permission from them. They will tell you, listen, this is the list of restaurants. These are the 10 appointed restaurants. You want to order, you order from here. And these are the places where it will get distributed. You give the money. We will buy it from here and we will give it here. That's it. So these regulations are made to protect us. What if instead of welfare, the opposite of welfare happens? Okay, that's why we have these regulations in place. I'm trying to give you more localized examples so that you can relate to this. Obviously, in the UK, this would be Oxfam because they do a lot of the charities over there, or maybe their version of they have Red Cross. Okay, we have Red Crescent here. They have Red Cross over there. Okay. The CSB investigates allegations that charities are not acting in accordance with their charitable objectives, are behaving unethically, or are misusing funds or otherwise breaching regulations. I think this regulation is important because this brings trust amongst the donors that if we are giving our money, we know our money will not be misused. And maybe when people are deciding or companies are deciding to sponsor such charities or give money, they would want to see that, your regulation, everything is tick marked or not. If you have been compliant, we will give you the money. But if you are a non-compliant, then sorry, you're not getting money from us. So this might be another important point. The content of charities accounts is governed by a statement of recommended practice. So they're telling us SORP, they have a statement of recommended practice, like a SOP you have in companies that this is the process, this is what you have to do. And this is published by the regulator CSB. The CSB requires all charity accounts to be audited. Okay. Larger charities whose annual income exceeds $10 million. So that's the criteria. If you're able to collect money of more than $10 million, needs to report on internal controls. I think we're going to fit in this. Yeah. And risk management system. So these are two sure areas we are getting. We will wait for HP's second half of this pre-scene to get a more clarity on what direction they will take. But this is definitely a case in the exam, with the report being reviewed by the charity's external auditors. Charities and commercial subsidiaries wholly owned by charities are not subject to taxation in the country. Okay. So this is also telling us one more important area, that if a charity wants to run a shop, if a charity wants to run a commercial activity, they cannot do under their license name. They will have to open a subsidiary, and maybe in that subsidiary's line of business, the activity will be commercial. So through that, you will collect your money, because as a charity, you can't do that. You cannot directly engage in a commercial activity. You see, so their structures can be complex at times. Yeah, their structures can be complex at times. Okay, heritage subsector. Many charities in the country exist for the purpose of preserving the country's heritage at urban and rural sites. Heritage means things of historical or cultural value which are worthy of preservation. Charities in the heritage subsector conserve and maintain historical sites, including buildings and museums. So there might be some tickets on these museums, which can be source of your income. And objects kept at those sites, they generally allow public admission to the sites which they maintain. Now, there was a question in 2010. 2010. So when I read this paragraph, this reminded me of that question, which you guys will not get to see in any of your books. Okay. But let me reveal the name. It's called the National Museum. So this is also a charity. Okay. This case study was also a charity in 2010. And the charity's objective was to maintain the museums. And its objective was obviously welfare. And what was the welfare here? The welfare was to protect things of national heritage. All these artifacts, you find what people used to use centuries ago, thousands of years ago. Some site you recovered that, some painting, something you got, pottery, something. And then you go and you preserve that, you keep it, restore it. But what have you seen in museums, guys, when you travel around the world? I'm just asking you. I'm trying to make you think when you visit a museum, other than things of historical importance. Maybe you'll watch some paintings. Let's say you go to Louvre Museum in Abu Dhabi, you will see good these sculptures are made and pottery and what all from different parts of the world. But what else do you see when you go to a museum? What else other than this? Some of you travel also around the world. You might have visited a lot of museums, not just here, but even outside this place. What do you see in a museum other than all what people go for? What other things you see? Shops. What shops do you see there? Do that. So when you go to this Al Fahidi Dubai Museum, which is closed these days, but if you go, you've been there? Okay. Have you seen that shop which sells Dubai caps and that sand, your name can be written on that? And all those historical places of Dubai, they're smaller, the miniatures of it, sceneries, all that, which means that must be their source of income as well. So either that shop belongs to you, HP, that shop belongs to you, you get these things made and you sell them and you raise money. So I make money from you when you buy a ticket, and then maybe you buy some coffee and food also. And on top of that, while exiting, you want to buy something memorable that I had visited this museum, maybe a magnet. You'll put it on your fridge. So you buy something over there and you pay more money to me. Correct? Okay. This is exactly what was required from us in the National Museum question. That what other sources of incomes can be explored, because the newer generation is not visiting museums. They are not interested in the culture anymore. They are not interested in national heritage anymore. So your ticket sales are going down. So how can we get, because when we were kids, our school used to take us to museum, Shindega Museum, Paidi Museum, Sharjah Science Museum. These were our places. This is where school took us. But today school takes you Kidzania, this park, that park, museum, safari, they are taking Dubai safari, all that. But museum is not the focus. Okay. Now, what can a museum do to increase its sources of incomes? You can't shut this down. If this is of some national importance, this will look bad. That things which are of historical importance are kept there, and you're saying we are shutting down the museum. This will look very bad. So what have we seen in Shindega? Outside the museum, food street. Okay, what are we seeing in Bardubai? Lots of shops around the museum. So what are you trying to do is to bring back people again to that area, to that place. You are trying to bring those things which attract people into the museum. So this way, you will be able to survive. You'll be able to keep things which are of national importance. This is what could be one of the things for us. Okay. So we need to create more income streams. We'll have to wait for some more clarity on this, but the direction of the exhibit here could be creating more income streams. I remember I was traveling in Turkey. I'm just giving you ideas, okay? So there is this palace in Istanbul, which is called Dolmabahce Palace. And this palace has something very unique in it. Everything is available in two forms. So if you have a sofa on the right, you'll have the same sofa on the left. Entire palace is symmetrical. So when you enter the palace, whatever is on your right is on your left. And there was one thing which was not having its left-hand side, which was not having its mirror. And that was a telephone, which was gifted from some king in the UK to one of the Ottoman emperors in that area. So what they've done is they've put a mirror on that left side for that telephone. So they didn't get two telephones. They kept the telephone on the right and they put a mirror on the left-hand side. And that palace is accessible by people only on one day of the week. I don't remember that day. Maybe it was a Monday or a Tuesday. It just opens for one day. So you have to, they sell only, let's say, I don't remember the number. Let's say 100 tickets a day. So if you are lucky, you will get the ticket and you can visit. So they've created this exclusivity and they've made it expensive. Now, what are they doing the other days? This was the question. So I was very curious that why are they keeping it open for one day? Why not the other days? So the Turkish government, they organize all the high profile government summits and meetings in that palace. Because Turkey is member of NATO, even they have a lot of these meetings with NATO members, army generals and whatever, they will host them in the Dolmabahce Palace. So they've made it of significance that it's not only for tourists, but it is also for dignitaries and all. So this way it gets funding. You get the point? This way it receives funding because it's become very important now. Heritage charities, let's come back to Dubai. Heritage charities aim to bring history to life for visitors. They seek to encourage public appreciation and participation in heritage. These days, how do people show their appreciation? Hashtag. So they click a picture and they take you to the social media. Oh, we had a wonderful time in so and so place. They tag you. And when people tag your location or the place they have visited, you become more searchable on the internet then. So if people are going to Google places to visit in this country, the top 10 places, maybe I'm saying one of the places will be yours because a lot of people have put this information on social media. So this includes encouraging members of the public to visit the sites and work for the charities as unpaid volunteers. At this stage, the only thing I want to tell you is these volunteers are very dear to me because they work for free. Okay. So they are very important stakeholders to us. And we will discuss this when we get some more information on this area. Heritage charities are also concerned with education. They host visits from groups of school children and students at their sites. Some establish formal links with schools and universities. A number of charities provide training in conservation and other activities. Okay, so this is another potential area of how we can attract more visitors. Usually what happens is when children from school go to a place, they go back home, they tell their parents, oh, I went there, I went there, I went there. Then parents, there are other children, if there are other children in the house, they'll be like, okay, we will also take you. So you end up going there twice this way. This happens. This is very common. So there's a reason, of course, you want to create more awareness, but at the same time, you want to create more interest as well. The two largest heritage charities in the country, we are one of them. Historical places, which mainly looks after sites over 300 years old. So you can imagine these guys are after something very unique. And then you have Living the Past, which mainly cares for sites which are less than 300 years old. Guys, we do have an edge over Living the Past because when it comes to things with to do of heritage, the older it is, the more prestigious it becomes. Okay. When you go and visit things and you get to see this was something which was used 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago, you're like, oh, wow, I'm getting to witness something which maybe 4 or 5 was more than the 10 generations ago it was being used. So it makes you feel like very valuable that, wow, this is a very valuable and a very precious thing to be witnessing. So I think we have a edge over here, over Living the Past. I think people are going to be more interested in seeing things which are older than what living the past is showing. Heritage charities, significant stakeholders. They've given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, I'm a little surprised. I was expecting this area to come in the second half. I was expecting this particular section to come when you start talking about heritage. Right now, you're talking about charities only, right? So far, you've only written about what charities do and what, all their importance and stuff, heritage importance. You have introduced their stakeholders for heritage charities, and we know that there are only two heritage charities, two large heritage charities. So these are going to be our stakeholders also. Yeah, these are going to be our stakeholders as well. So there's a good solid chance of Mendelow's matrix. Of course, I won't do Mendelow's matrix tonight. I will do it on Saturday. But there's a good chance of stakeholder analysis being tested in the exam. That these, and what do we see in the Mendelow's matrix is we look into the power and interest. And based on that, how will we treat that particular stakeholder? Will we ignore them? Will we give them importance? Will we keep them informed? Will we keep them satisfied? Or they are going to be key players? We're going to prioritize them over everybody else. So trustees are individuals who oversee a charity's activities. They are responsible for ensuring that it acts in accordance with its charitable objectives and constitution and complies with regulations. Trustees should ensure that the charity's control and risk management systems are effective and the charity is managed with honesty and integrity. They develop the charity's strategic direction in conjunction with executive management. So they are a bridge between the donor and the management. The people who donate money and the people who run the charity with that money. They are the trustees. They are the people whom we have trusted. So I trust you, Gaurav, and that's why I'm giving money to this charity. Okay, because you are one of the trustees there. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay. I have studied in a missionary school here. I did my A levels from a missionary school here, not very far away from here, St. Mary's Catholic High School. It's a convent school. It's a missionary school, and over there the principal, the vice principal were the executive management. Okay. The fees was very affordable. They used to keep education very, very affordable for everyone because they run on donations. They run on charities. So they have some members who donate money for education and all. And of course, they would charge us a fees. So that was their income stream. But in addition, they also have donors, you know. So some of the royal family members would also donate money to them. Now, they also have a church in the side. They're also running the church with that money, but they're also running a school with that money. Okay. Now, trust is key. If people come to know that someone who is working there in that school has bought their own property, we'll be like, where did you get the money from that you were able to buy a property? Or if the principal is coming in a luxurious car, be like, where did she get the? Because I remember the principal was always someone from the church itself, and he or she, if it was a man, it was a pastor, and if it was a lady, it would be a nun, the sister. They would always be like very low profile, humble. Their homes were built in the school only. So they were not going outside the school to live in apartments and villas and what all. They were given accommodation within the school premises. So their basic expenses and necessities were taken care of by the school, in the school. Okay. This trust, you have to send this message out when you're collecting charities that look, your money is not being wasted. So when you give your money to us, it is going for the purpose of education and welfare of the teachers and all of that. It's not going elsewhere. Otherwise, that trust will go away. Today, that school has got 5 or 6 branches in this country only. Okay. This is just to give you an example that how important trust is. Now, trust is on the trustees. Okay. You don't trust the charity directly. You trust the people who are going to be overseeing the charity. Oh, this person, oh, that person, oh, they are very credible people. Maybe you're retired or you have other sources of income and you've decided to become a trustee on one of these charities. And you know people, and people know you. So it's not the people don't directly, trust on the charity. People trust the person who is responsible for that charity. So in that case, it's going to be the trustees. It is very important to have people with solid backgrounds here. Because if these people don't come from strong backgrounds, if they are not reliable people, if they are not trustworthy people, then it becomes very difficult to raise money for the charity. These board of trustees, so as donors, imagine we are donors, okay? As donors, we trust the trustees. That's why they're called trustees. And the trustees will place their trust on executive management because trustees will not involve or indulge in day-to-day working of the charity. They will set the policies. Okay, they will set the risk management, the internal control, the regulation. We want to check the report. Are we, abiding by? Are we compliant and all that? All those things they will be interested in. The people who will look after the day-to-day will be your executive management. So you can see here, we've been told trustees are accountable for charities' activities, and they've brought that supervisory board and the general public. Trustees are not paid for their time and they receive no employment benefits. So no salary, no bonus, nothing. They work for free. Executive managers are employees. So in my example, the principal of the school was an employee. The vice principals, they were all employees. The teachers, they were all employees. So that is the executive management here. For the day-to-day operations, they normally meet regularly as an executive board. So 2 boards have been mentioned here. BCO is the name of the case study. And in BCO, we've been asked about 2-tier boards. What are the advantages of having 2-tier boards? You remember unitary board, 2-tier boards? Yeah. Governance. Exactly. That's why I said governance is going to be a very important area in this. So we will get a question. One of our questions could be in this direction. Okay. 2-tier boards. Okay. Then we have other paid employees or volunteers. So paid employees include head office, admin staff, and staff working full or part-time at the sites. Volunteers carry out unpaid work at a charity site in their spare time. They have no contractual obligation to keep volunteering. Now, let me tell you something interesting. I also volunteered for my school when I was doing my schooling. At that time, I was asked to look after a kid who needed special education. So whenever I had a free period, I actually had to go to his class and be his shadow teacher at that time. So this is when I was in grade 12. Okay. And just like me, there were other teachers also in the school, such wonderful human beings. They would not charge a single dirham to the school. They would come every day and they would do some subjects, teach and go. They wouldn't charge any money. Okay. But not many, of course, were like these. You know how cost of living is here. Not many people were able to do this, but I can remember that maybe there were 5 or 6 teachers I knew personally in that school. Maybe there were others also who never revealed it to us, but we knew that there were 5 or 6 teachers who come every day to work and they don't charge a single dirham to the school. What I although always observed was that whenever these teachers were walking in the corridor, the principal would say hello to them. So they had a lot of respect. And now I understand when I teach SBL that why they had. At that time, we thought, okay, maybe they're seniors or something like that. Yeah, that's why. No, they were not charging anything to the school. So they were very important to us because if they leave, we will have to hire someone. And if we have to hire, we'll have to pay salary to that person. So keep them happy, please. Show them respect, give them value. It's okay. If someone salaried is upset, we'll replace them with another person who is salaried. But if some unsalaried person goes away, then you have to get someone who is salaried. You're getting the point? Yeah. So these people who were not charging us anything or who were volunteers, they are of quite an importance to any charity. Donors give monies to charities without expecting anything in return. No dividends. Donors may give on a one-off or a regular basis. Okay. What if you are running a charity, let's say, what are you interested in? Do you want 1 million in one shot? Or do you want someone to tie up with you and pay you $10,000 every year? Or $100,000 every year? What do you want? Every year, yeah, tie them up, yeah. So you keep getting money. 1 million you have now, that's fine. Next year, if you don't have anything, then you are worried after 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you are worried. 1 million will get used up. But if you have a recurring income, it brings more stability into your charity, right? So perfect example of this is ACCA because it is a charity. ACCA is a charity. Yes, yes. If you go on ACCA website, that's why when you pay your subscription, it said, do you want to give additional donation? Have you seen that? It's a charity. Yeah. ACC, your educational institutions like ACCA, ICAW, SEMA, they are all charities. They are all registered as charities. And they are built for the benefit of their members. So anywhere in the world, their members are, their offices, ACCA offices around, your exams, all this expenditure goes into that. Okay. And we pay subscription fee every year. Imagine that must be millions and millions in pounds. We're talking 500,000 members, imagine, and 250,000 are in process of becoming members. You're talking 700, 800,000 conservative numbers. Some people don't pay. They become ACCA, but they never pay their subscription. There are people like that also. They say, no, we don't need the membership. There are people, they stop giving it. Um, okay, 80, 90% of that is also quite a good amount. Yeah, quite a good amount. But is this the only source of income for ACCA? No. You have registered on this, you paid 70 pounds or something like that. Then you guys pay exam fees for your exams. Okay, then ECCA is organizing all these events for CPD, continuous professional development. Some are online, some are face to face. So maybe those are $10 or $20 or $50 if you want to participate. So there are other sources of incomes. Some of you want to do diploma in IFRS, certificate in IFRS, sustainability diploma from ACCA. You will go on the ACCA website, you will buy $500 one program and you'll study that, do an exam and get a certificate after that. So they are creating other avenues, other sources of incomes. I'm not calling revenue. It's a charity. It's a charity. They're creating income streams. Very important for a charity to do this, to keep it sustainable, to keep it running. Yeah. Members pay an annual fee or a one-off fee for life membership, which gives them certain privileges depending on what the charity does. The most important privileges which membership gives them are free admission to sites operated by the charity and voting at the charity's annual general meeting, including electing trustees. So some trustees are being selected by these members, so you can vote on them. It's just like how the executive directors are selected by the vote of shareholders, just like that, very similar to that. Okay. Now, I remember when I was reading this, it reminded me of another past paper. I also remember the name of the person who was running it. Maybe I will write that here. The name of the case was the Wetland Trust. It was about protecting wildlife, endangered species of animals. I think I remember the name of the person who was running it. It was Dr. Zohail Abbas. That was the name in the case. I'm writing it here for myself. So if I have to go and search in my archives, I can find this easily. So this was the name of the charity. And in that charity also, they had floated this idea that all these people who donate money or they subscribe with us, they should be given access to the wildlife site. So if you want to go and see these animals, you don't have to buy a ticket because you are our member. So for you, free access. We will take you and you can see all the animals in the sanctuary. But then we were asked, how else can we make money then? Because if we will take everybody for free, all the donors are going for free, then what do we do to ensure that we keep getting more donors then? So you guys are, let's say you are 50 in number. All 50 of you are donors. You've given me donations. I take you to the site. That's it. What else to make more money? Through you, if not you. Through you, listen to me carefully. Through you, if not you. So you've paid, thank you very much. But through you, I want to reach out to your family and friends also. Your connections. So Dr. Zohail Abbas apparently was very famous. He used to come on television shows. He used to talk to people. People knew him. He was a celebrity in the media. Okay. And he was able to get his friends and his viewers. He had a following. Now, I did this exam paper when Instagram was not there. I did this exam paper when social media was not a very active element. If we've got people in our company who are influencers and who can go out and get sponsorships from companies and who can go out and get celebrities on board. There's a very famous cricketer from England known Kevin Peterson, and he wears these t-shirts which has messages for rhinoceros, extinct animal, right? And he's part of that charity which is trying to protect these endangered species. I'm just giving you an idea. So if we can get such people on board, fine, I'm giving you these privileges, but this is free for you. I want to get more donors on board. You are 50. How can I make it 100? How can I make it 150, 200 in future? So one common way of doing this is, again, I'm bringing my inspiration from past papers here. One common way of doing this is gala dinners. You organize dinners, you invite your members, and we ask members, refer your friends also, please. And this becomes more like a networking session. Oh, you are part of that charity. Oh, we are also part of that charity. It becomes like this. You try to create groups. Okay, you try to create groups. So you are going to be the head of that group. Oh, this way you feel very valued. See, I am part of this charity and this charity has made me the head of one of the members group. Let's say you are the head of the members group. So we created a WhatsApp group and we made you the admin. Now we will not manage it, you manage it for us. Feel very valued. Like how you have owners association and all such things. So you feel like, oh wow, this is great. Now it is in your interest that you bring more people into the charity. So guys, this case has a strong feeling that they could take us in this direction, that how can we upsell, cross sell, bring more members, get more members, give ideas. Okay, maybe through our website. So how do we attract new members from our website? Something on those lines. And I'm going to wait for some more substance and try to build up on this. Then we have non-members as well, those who pay us admission fee to have access to the site. So if you are not a member, you have to pay for the ticket. But do I give you an option? Just like how Talabat gives me an option whenever I'm buying food, go pro and save 9 dirhams in delivery. So when you come to buy a ticket, is there someone there telling you that if you become a member now, you don't have to buy this ticket? We want members, right? See, if this is admission fee, then you will pay one time only. Maybe you will not visit again after that. And I will not be able to get more money from you. But if at that stage, like whenever I go to any supermarket or shop, are you part of our loyalty scheme? Right? What are we all trying to do there? You're trying to make everyone part of some scheme. And that is the best time, right? Okay, I'll not tag this. First you join, and then you can claim bonus or points or anything. We all experience this. We can do the same thing here. So when you're buying a ticket, at that very moment, we can offer you subscription. That if you become a subscriber right now, you don't have to buy this ticket. Then we have guarantors. Guarantors guarantee a specified amount to help settle a charity's debts if the charity becomes insolvent, but are generally not otherwise involved with the charity's activities. The CSB acts on behalf of the country's government in overseeing charity activities. We discussed the regulator already. Media. I think there will be an exhibit in the exam which will have something about maybe funds being misused. Maybe there has been an allegation. Maybe that allegation is not on us. Sometimes the allegation could be very generic on charities. Now, we are also one of the charities. Now, I have not done anything wrong, but because other charities have done something wrong, now all of you think that charities are like this. How do I protect myself in this situation? How do I come out clean from this situation? Maybe you will have to draft a press release. Maybe you will have to issue something in the media as a press release that we are not like them. So stories in the media can illustrate the good work charities are doing. However, media coverage can also be a source of bad. I'm not expecting good publicity in the exam, because if it is good publicity, then there is no question. There has to be something bad, something wrong happening, something inappropriate happening. Then only there is a scope and potential for questions being created for us. So I'm expecting that there will be an exhibit which will carry bad publicity, and we will have to try and limit the damage and protect our charity from it. And they've given us an example also. Wasting money. Yeah, wasting money. Stakeholders who give money or non-financial resources, donors, volunteers, members, non-member visitors, are collectively called supporters. So in any of the exhibits, if you see the word supporter, it means it is including donors, volunteers, members, and visitors. It's including all of them. I will read one more page and then I will take our first break. So these are the sources of our incomes for heritage charities, and we are one of them. Donations, So charities obtain donations in various ways. They contact possible donors through post. Who does post these days? Okay. My problem is this is very outdated. Emails, okay. Text message, okay. That's modern. Or giving visitors the chance to donate when they visit the historical sites, good. But if the number of visitors are falling, then not good. It means you're not able to target many people to donate if there is a fall in the number of visitors. Charities encourage donations by advertising. So you can advertise in our museum, some post you'll put, including adverts on television or on social media. Most charities have websites which allow donors to donate on them. Most charities, this is talking generic right now. So website is common. You can come on our website and you can donate money. Charities retain contact details of previous donors and focus marketing campaigns on obtaining further donations from them. Ah, I see a question here. The question I'm seeing is, how will your website help you in attract new donors and retain old donors? So those who have been donating, please keep donating. Don't leave us. And at the same time, how can I win more donors? It's becoming very evident, at least for me, the way I'm seeing it. My other question is, and one confession I want to make, I've not had the time to pay my ACCA subscription yet. It's been overdue since 1st of Jan. We're close to end of Feb now. I got a warning email yesterday. It's getting recorded anyways. Yeah. That if I don't pay this by the end of so and so week, I'm at risk of losing my membership. So maybe today after, it's a good reminder for me also. I will pay it. I have received 4 reminders so far. And let me tell you, they will not revoke my membership until June. Let me tell you this also. But the messages will be threatening in tone. It's a tactic. Okay. It's a tactic, and companies do this to get money. We'll cut this connection. We'll do this. We'll do that. They don't do it immediately, of course. They give you some time. There's always some grace period. Maybe after June, they will say, listen, you're out of the membership. I'm just building a scenario here. You are out of this program now. And if you want to reinstate yourself, there is a penalty fee, which you will have to pay. Okay. Something like that. Something on those lines. Now, I know it can't happen here. If I choose to not to donate money to you, finish, gone. What, you'll put penalty on me? You can't. Because I don't want to be part of your charity anymore. I'll give my money to some other charity, no problems. So here, the point I'm trying to make is, these donors are very strong in the Mendelow's matrix to you. You can't be threatening to them in this case. ACCA can be threatening because my economic interests are aligned with ACCA. I'm course head of which qualification? ACCA. If the course head of ACCA is not paying subscription, how will I go out telling students, guys, please pay subscription? How will I tell? I'm sending such a wrong message out, right? What will my colleagues think? Are you getting the point? So it is in my interest that I pay the subscription. My reputation will otherwise suffer. But in this case, your reputation will not suffer. If you choose to not to donate, they can't do a thing. If they send you a threatening email, you'll be like, can't say that. You say, go. You don't care. My money, my wish, wherever I want to give. That's how you will retaliate, which means there has to be a polite way of taking the money. If you can't be strict, you have to be very sweet. Sweetness will do then. What can people do, or what have I experienced? Try to bring in your personal experience, and if you're part of any of the charities, what do you experience in this? So, you know what? I know some charities, what they do is when you go to donate, they'll say you are donating us, let's say 100 dirhams. We don't want 100 dirhams. Can you give us 10 dirhams every month? And this way you'll be able to support us longer. Emotional. Okay, I'll click on this. Do you allow us to directly withdraw this money from your bank? Here you go. And as soon as you click on that, you have given standing instructions. You know standing instructions? You know standing instructions? You've given standing instructions to your bank. Come 30th, please give 10 dirhams, $10 to this charity. How many of us will remember? We have rent to pay, bills to pay, fees to pay, this to pay, that to pay. 10 dirhams, let it go. 10 dirhams, 10 dirhams, 10 dirhams, 10 dirhams, 10 dirhams. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Wow. Accumulate that amount now. How much money have you donated by now? Standing instructions to your banks. So if you add that feature to your website, this will improve retention. You will not realize that you will get more people who will go on a ongoing, recurring basis, charge me this money and take this from me. Make sense? Is it making sense, guys? Yeah. Now, annual or one-off life membership fees. See, I told you one-off is good. But if I'm asked in the exam to analyze it, the biggest threat I will bring is it's one-off. Some years it goes up, some years it goes down. The volatility could be very high. So the problem with one-off is it is uncertain. If you ask me how much will I get next year, I'll say, I don't know. It's one-off. Sometimes when people are close to their deathbed, they will donate money. Now, I cannot predict how many people will do that next year. I cannot. Some people in their inheritance, in their will, they will say, half our wealth should go to so-and-so charity. Again, we cannot predict that. Their wills will only come out when they die. So there's a lot of uncertainty in this area. But there is a lot of certainty here. Now, if there is a lot of certainty here, it means you need to try and focus on this area. You need to ask your trustees should ask your executive management, what are you doing to ensure that we get more subscribers, more members on an annual basis every year? So maybe you will have a KPI, how many members last year, how many members this year, and how many members for next year are you targeting? Maybe that is going to be a very important KPI for us. That if we are able to show growth in the number of members, then it means we will be able to show some growth. The other thing I am predicting here is there could be a question in the exam which talks about membership renewal process. Like the swim lane diagram. Do you remember the swim lane diagram, guys? We did a question in the class where you call a call center. The question name was Stella Electronics. Do you remember that? So you give a call, supervisor picks up, says, which company you're calling for? You say Stella. They transfer you call to the Stella department. They ask, what are you calling for? Are you a new customer, old customer? Oh, new. Okay, you go to contract section. Old. Okay, what problem do you have? Please tell us your reference number, your password. Then we will transfer your call. Do you remember that question? Okay. Were there mistakes in the process? Okay. And then we were asked for a recommendation on how to fix that. Good, you remember. I'm very happy to know this. Now let me relate this here. Maybe you have changed your card, or your current card has expired, but the system has still approved your membership, although the payment never went through. Possible. So 20th of Feb is when I need to deduct money from your account. Maybe you've changed your bank account. Maybe the card is expired. Something has happened. But my system is showing that it has been renewed today. Your membership has been renewed today. So there is a risk that we have unpaid members in the system. We have people who have not paid for the next year, but we are still counting them as members. We are having a discussion in one of our meetings, and one of the directors have said, these days people are so manipulative, they are so misleading, they lie to us, they are so unethical. He's blaming you guys that they are bringing their families to visit museums and all. And later, when we checked into the records, the payment was never made. The problem is not with them. The problem is with your process. You gave them a membership. They used it. Your system should be strong enough. Your controls should be strong enough to pick out a non-member. So if a payment has failed, your membership should not be issued. Simple. So most likely, if you get a question in the exam, the risk is that the membership was issued even when the payment was failed. And you will find issues between the membership team, you may have a department for this, and the finance team. And maybe we'll have to fix that. You'll have to tell them what should be the correct process. A simple process and a correct process. That is what our role will be in the exam. Possible. This could be a possible question. Okay, admission fees we've discussed. Commercial activities. Commercial income can come from various sources. Most sites have catering facilities. So cafes and restaurants we were discussing earlier. At the site, smaller catering facilities may only provide snacks and drinks. Larger facilities will offer full meals. By the way, a lot of people also now these days use museums or things of national importance or heritage to organize events like weddings, annual events, corporate events. So that can be another major income stream, because these places are very good for photographies and all, right? Good lighting and architecture. So some people want to organize their special events in such special places. So that can be another idea here. It says corporate events or weddings. So on that day, you will not open to the public. You'll say it's for some event. Now, my problem here is if your systems are not updated and people ended up buying tickets, when they turn up there and you tell them, sorry, we cannot let you go in today because there is a special event. So you'll say, why is your website showing open? Your website must mention, right? It's closed. Why are you issuing tickets today then? You should not issue any tickets. The system should have prevented this. So is your website and your ticketing system reflecting this? Yeah. Most sites also have shops, smaller shops may just sell guidebooks or other items connected to the site. So that's another small income you get. For example, books about historical period when the site was in use, who all stayed here, what all, Larger shops sell a greater variety of products such as greeting cards, toys, household items, clothing and bags, all these novelties, gifts which we buy. Some of the items may be branded with the charities logo. So that is your way to market yourself. A small number of charities in the country also operate shops which are not at their site. So we may not necessarily have a shop in the museum. We might be in some other place, but which are located in shopping areas. These shops sell the same items which are sold at the charity sites. Some charities also sell their shop products online. And here you go. There could be a question on e-commerce. How can you make your products more saleable online? Good. Let's take a break here, guys, and we shall resume after 15 minutes. Let's take a break. Okay. I know I've only read 4 pages, and you might be thinking in so long time I've read only 4 pages, but because I'm trying to even add a lot of the predictions along with it. And I think it only comes to me when I'm reading it. If you ask me what are my top predictions, I can't tell you immediately, but only when I come across it, that's when I'm able to predict. So that will be our pace for the remaining part of the pre-scene as well. Heritage charities expenditure. Charities incur the following main categories of expenditure. We have site operating cost. These are day-to-day running expenses, including the wages of employees who work at the sites. Then we have maintenance and conservation cost. This requires varying amounts of maintenance depending on their age. The older the building, the more the maintenance, the wear and tear will be more. Some maintenance takes place regularly throughout each year and may be undertaken by the charity's employees or outside contractors. Sometimes it's very major, so you have to pay a big amount to do that. One-off projects are undertaken by outside contractors. Maybe you will not have the capability to fix it. Charities also incur costs conserving historical objects at their sites. It's not just the building, but it's also the objects inside that building. These objects often require complex treatment carried out by specialists. I'm sure you've seen it in documentaries and in videos. They wear these gloves and they'll place things under some special liquid to take the dirt off that, and it doesn't get any damage, doesn't break in their hands. So these are all preservation efforts, and they're specialist people, and obviously they are paid to do such a job. Then you have admin costs. These include costs of fundraising and marketing the charity's activities, also the costs of administering membership. They also include the salary costs of the charity's executive management because they're all full-time employees and other head office admin staff. Charities can suffer bad publicity and attract less support if admin costs are believed to be too high. So this is the second time we are seeing the word bad publicity. The first time it was when the media was mentioned as a stakeholder, that how they can promote, but they can also be a cause of bad publicity. The second time it has come for admin costs. So in the National Museum, which I've referred earlier, the case study, can I just write NM here, National Museum? Okay. This is an indication for myself also. So when this National Museum case study, we were told that these directors, each director has his own office chamber. They have their own dining rooms in those chambers, and they host their visitors in those dining rooms. A new director general has been appointed in the museum. Listen carefully now, I'm telling you what direction this could take. A new director general has been appointed. In this case, a new head of the directors has been appointed, and he is not happy because this cost is very high. Admin costs are very high. So maybe in part A of the question, they made you analyze the income and the expenses. Let me write here. So you were asked to analyze the incomes and the expenses. I am trying to relate this to NCCP. Have you seen the NCCP case? Was there a question to analyze? 12 marks, I think it was. Okay, so there's a 12-mark question in NCCP where I think it's 12 as far as I recollect. Yeah, please correct me if you remember it. So in NCCP, there were 3 or 4 different income streams, and similarly 3 or 4 expense. Maybe some of the incomes are falling, some of the expenses are going up. So we've had to analyze all that. Okay, so this could be one part of the question. The other part of the question could be is, now imagine you all have been working in this charity for, let's say, 10 years. Okay. People respect you a lot in this charity. 10 years you've been working here. You have your own office. You have a tea boy also comes and makes tea for you, takes care of your guests if they are visiting you. And when you go out, he brings your car also from the parking. So a lot of privileges you have as a director in this charity. And like you, there are 5, 6 more directors also, by the way. And they also have their own, assistants to look after them. Why? You're a charity. Why? This money all is coming from donors and members, and this is going into looking after you. This is a charity. We cannot, it's welfare for others, not your welfare. The objective of the charity is not to look after the welfare of the executive directors. Bare minimum we should do for you, not excessive. This is excess. Your own chamber, your own dining space, your this, your that, your driver, someone who brings your car. Why all of this? These are extra privileges. This looks nice in private sector. For profit objective. It looks nice over there because there you are making us money. So we are okay to share little money with you. Yeah, take what you want. Driver, will give you driver. You want a car, we'll give you a car. But not here. You're not making us any money in return. Why are you asking for all these privileges? But you know what? When we get things easy, we think it's our right. If you try to take this away from this person, that from tomorrow these privileges are gone, how do you think they will react? How? Will they say, oh, all this while I've done wrong, this shouldn't have had happened. From tomorrow, I sacrifice all this for the company. Do you think this is how they will behave? No. So part B of the question could be, you have a new director general who is implementing change. He has spoken against all these privileges, that why are we having all of this here? This is waste of money, waste of funds. And now when he goes on to, so the new DG goes to implement changes, he is going to face resistance. So we have been asked to analyze the culture of the organization. What is it in the present and how do we need to change in the future? So there's a slight hint of cultural web. Maybe one of the directors, because this is what happened in the National Museum. One of the directors was so upset that he went to media and he gave an interview. He said, this new director general does not understand our charity, does not understand how museums are run, does not understand heritage at all. He was the CEO of a supermarket before. He's trying to run this like a supermarket. And this was bad publicity for our charity. So when I read this, National Museum does come to my mind. Heritage charities, challenges. The principal challenge which charities face is the variety of factors which can cause deterioration in the sites and objects which they are trying to preserve. Even in the National Museum, they said these buildings are very old. They don't have air conditioners or heaters installed in it. But the temperature, the climate is changing. We need to install ACs but at the same time, we want them to be energy conservative. We don't want to be creating a lot of carbon emissions. So even in the National Museum, this was happening. And by the way, we've been told most of the heritage we are responsible or looking after is more than 300 years old. So there is another hint given. So one of the problems with upgrading the site is that it will lose its originality. You will have to change the layout plan. Maybe some of the areas of the building will now become inaccessible. You will not allow people to go in that area. Maybe you've created some electric rooms, something you've created on there. So this entire site is not completely accessible. So yes, we agree this can happen. So these include the passage of time and natural conditions such as high humidity. Hint is given. Pollution and violent weather conditions caused by climate change can accelerate deterioration or result in significant damage. Maybe this place was in a village before, but now this village has become a city. And there are a lot of roads around this, and there are a lot of cars passing around this place. And what have we seen is whenever we visit any historical sites in any of the countries, if there's a lot of traffic around, congestion around, noise pollution, smoke, and that will affect the beauty of these buildings. That will increase the wear and tear of these buildings. This is a problem. So pollution and violent weather conditions caused by climate change can accelerate deterioration or result in significant damage. Wear and tear from having same word has been used, wear and tear from having a large number of visitors can also affect size. Remember Dolmabahce Palace? I said they keep a cap on the number of people who can visit. Maybe that's the reason. Because if too many people will visit, maybe that will create issues, damage to the site. The risk is high. So they want to keep a very controlled number of people who are visiting the place, which they can control and manage comfortably. So if there is a question on pastel, here, then this is going to be the E part, the environmental part of the challenges we are facing. Now, there can be multiple challenges. Guys, I do things as it comes to me, okay? Now, maybe these areas will come in later to us. But because my mind is telling me this could come here, so I'm doing it now. In detail, I will do it in the upcoming session. So for political, we have a regulator appointed by the government. The regulator does all the regulations. So there might be change in those regulations. So we will be impacted by those regulations. Okay, now I'll develop a story around that in the upcoming session. Then we have economic. Maybe we will be told that people don't visit these sites anymore. There is a fall in the number of visitors. Now, if there is a fall in the number of visitors, it means there is a fall in income. So income will get affected. If they ask us in this pastel model, what is happening in the macro environment, how is it affecting you, and how can you use this for your future decision making? So you'll say we will have to develop other income streams. Okay, maybe you will have to give people access online. So there are a lot of museums. If you pay them a small fee, $2, $3, okay, you can wear VR and you feel like you're walking in that place. Okay, so there are a lot of places of historical importance. Maybe you are not allowed to visit there, or you don't have to necessarily pay to visit. You can pay us some small amount on our website and we can open up some of the spaces to you. You can stroll online on it. You can see what each place or room looks like. There'll be cameras, special cameras, 3D cameras installed in our museum. I'm giving you ideas because they might ask us ideas. How can we monetize this? Well, that's how you can monetize it. Keep a very nominal fee. Maybe school teachers will put this in their school on the projector and say, this is what the museum. So we're not going to put you in a bus and take you there. But we can, if I'm teaching you something from history and I want to show it to you, maybe I'll pay a $3, $5 subscription and I will go to the website of HB and I can show that to you. Is that making sense? Yeah? Okay. Social. I'm just trying to remember what was there in National Museums. I'm bringing National Museum here, okay? In National Museum, we were told crime rate is increasing around the museum. So people are scared to visit. Even if they want to visit, they don't, because they feel that they'll be robbed. Okay. So what do you do now? I cannot take this site up and take it to a safer area. That's not in my control. But maybe I can work with local authorities closely and request them to enhance the security measures around the site. So there are a few things which I can, and of course there are things which I can't. So I have to be very careful with the kind of recommendations I'm giving. We are not a policing force. We cannot pick people and give them to the police, but we can maybe install CCTV cameras around, and maybe we can increase surveillance around our building, at least, so that people feel safe. That even if something bad happens, the person will get caught because there's increased surveillance around the facility. We can do that. We can install cameras in our buildings, inside and outside. Yeah. Technology, we've already been told about e-commerce. Environmental, this paragraph gives you a lot of information about environmental. So maybe we can go on solar. So we don't have to buy electricity this way. One-time investment it is. It's very common here also now. A lot of the parkings you see solar installed at the top. Maybe we'll try that in our your money in renewable energy and making us self-sufficient now. So in future, we will not ask you money to pay our bills. We took the money now and we were able to use this money in a very productive manner. So in future, if we need the money, we'll need it for something else, not for this. Right? So it's a good messaging. And legal, we'll have to see if there are any health and safety laws. Someone got injured at your place, employability laws, something on those lines. In fact, even confidentiality laws, maybe there's some confidentiality law as well. This guy who went into the media and spoke about the bad mouth, the museum or the heritage place, the HP, or our management, what does the law say about this? Is there any law, any framework for this or not? Right? So there is a potential of macro environment. No five forces, no diamond. No way. There's going to be no five forces. We are not profit potential. Five forces will help you with profit potential of the industry. Diamond is, again, demand conditions, factor conditions. If you want to go and compete in international markets, all that will come in. No. So if there is any external environment model, which I'm seeing here, it will either be SWOT or it will be PESTEL. And out of the two, I feel it is PESTEL. SWOT is too easy. SWOT can also come. There's no harm in that. But PESTEL, I see more chance from strategy. Good. Whatever I'm predicting today will be done in more detail. So don't worry about this. We will go in detail, full answers with pointers, but storyline can change. I'm writing here health and safety law. Maybe there'll be some other law. So don't say, Taha, you predicted health and safety. We did not get health and safety. This is an example. I'm predicting PESTEL. You have to tell me, did PESTEL come in the exam or not? Okay. Larger charities are also dependent on recruiting sufficient volunteers to ensure that there are enough staff at each site. I've told you already, these guys are very important to us. Volunteers are unpaid, thus saving charities salary cost. but their hours and attendance may not be regular. So sometimes they are available, sometimes they are not. And they may decide to stop volunteering suddenly. One day they'll say, sorry, we got another job. We cannot come here every day. This is a possibility. Now, here the examining team has given you a solid hint that there could be challenges here, and maybe we will be asked on how to overcome these challenges. Any ideas you have how to overcome these challenges? Because I need them. So don't tell me that let's reduce our reliance on volunteers and let's get people full time, because 3 pages ago we were told that if charities have high admin cost, they are not liked by donors. The age gap between 14 and 15, and they are all like 130. Okay, very good. Okay, so opening up to younger people. Don't just go for experienced people in this. Be very lenient. Be open. Okay, good. And it could be also people who are maybe not willing to work, but they want to do something for 2-3 hours. So you want to be flexible with the hours. We don't want you to, if you, it shouldn't be with terms and conditions that if you volunteer with us, you have to work 8 hours. No, it shouldn't be like this. So even if you want to volunteer on a weekend, let's be flexible. If you want to volunteer in the evening, let's be flexible. Let's say homemakers, people, housewives, maybe they're saying, we want only 2 hours in a day we can take out. Okay, fine. It's for their social circle. Very good. With universities mainly. Okay, excellent. Yes, Muhammad Al Duredi. Please tell me, brother, what are you suggesting?
What about if they recommend like celebrating their collaboration or contribution? Can that be placed in the exam, like certificate awards, or like posting on social media that the best
Amazing.
volunteer?
Very good idea. So valuing the contribution of the volunteers can help us retaining the existing ones. So even when you get full-term employment, I know some people like this. They've got full-time jobs, but they still prefer to give some hours, to their charities which they volunteer for, just because they enjoy the environment there. The environment is very good, very supportive people. They appreciate their presence there. Very good idea. This is very nice. So recognizing them, celebrating them, posting about them on their social media or across the emails to all that, you are the volunteer of the month. Something like that will be a good way to acknowledge their efforts. Yes, everyone likes appreciation. Yes. Yeah, open up, right? Network, yeah, open up. Maybe there should be just like how you have a way of collecting donations and all, you should have also open up of becoming volunteers, meaning give ideas. Now if you have a visitor coming to your place, you can ask them, do you want to be a donor and or do you want to be a volunteer also? You can become a volunteer as well. So we can also invite, very good idea this is. So we can also invite visitors to become volunteers. So you like the place so much that now you have developed some form of affiliation towards it, right? Your members can also volunteer. Or you know what? We don't want to make you feel bad. You can't donate. Why don't you become a volunteer then? At least the minimum way you can contribute is, you don't want to give money, fine, but you can volunteer for us. In other ways, that is your money only, right? You're not charging us anything. So that is also a contribution. Yes, Mohammed.
So you mentioned previously about the members being like a group leader. What if we mentioned something for the volunteers as giving them a sense of ownership, let them come up with their own ideas and, be like a group leader for that idea or something?
Yep. Good. Excellent. And then these companies can send their employees. Excellent. Very good idea. We do this here. We were part of beach cleanup. We had to go in the hot sun and clean the beach. Right. So yes, CSR activities. Okay. Company tied up what to do now. We have to do it. Okay. So yes, employees of other companies, of your sponsors, will have to volunteer. So maybe there should be one day dedicated that you will volunteer on that day. And maybe we will take this to all our sponsors and donors that one day you have to volunteer for us. This will help us, right? If you are leaving, quitting, anything, we can make up. At that time, we can reach out to your companies and say, we have a slot on this day. Can you please and volunteer on that day? I think it will help us with it. Yes, please.
I've seen charities where they have got accolades for milestones. So if you do 3 years,
Very good. Very nice. They can give you some badges and you can take it on your LinkedIn. Yeah, that's a very good idea. Guys, good, excellent, good ideas here. So one recognition is, of course, we'll give you within the team, but something which you can show out to the public. It could be a certification, it could be a badge. We sponsored something for you, just a way to appreciate show some appreciation towards you. Yeah, definitely. That's a good idea. Okay, some good ideas here. Can hosting workshops relating to engaging the donors and motivate them to become excellent? Yes, why not? Excellent, good idea, Sarah. So, workshops for members plus volunteers. Yes, and maybe volunteers, when they talk about their work with members, this will maybe attract the members to become volunteers as well. Yes, good. So we want members. I think these are the two most important stakeholders we have: members and volunteers. Employees, you're important as well, but we pay you. Okay, so we keep you satisfied. But what about the volunteers? We don't pay them. How do we keep them satisfied in this business? So they keep volunteering. Yes, we need to do a lot more there. Good points, guys. This could be a question in the exam. And we've already done the answer. So larger charities are, okay, we've read that heritage charities face the challenge that non-heritage charities are also seeking donations. It means you have to compete with others for your donations. Potential donors are likely to receive communications from many charities. Charities which are in the news at particular times. Oh, what an amazing hint you have given here. May raise considerable sums of money, but this may mean that donors will give less to other charities which they normally support. Let me give you another example from the past papers. We have seen this in the past. If we are told that there is a recession going on, and during recession there will be high levels of unemployment, it means your donors will end up giving more charities towards unemployment NGOs. So those NGOs, those non-governmental organizations, or those not-for-profits which do skill building. So you are another charity there. Okay, you are another charity which helps unemployed people become employable. Now tell me fairly, okay, that if there is unemployment in the country, and let's say you have a job right now, and you have disposable income with you as well, and you want to help, will you help a human or will you help heritage? Human. Similarly, if there is a flood and people have become homeless, you have money with you, will you give money towards flood relief, or you'll say, no, this building and this heritage and this 300 years old, I want to protect that? What will you do? Flood relief. So the problem here is, the challenge we are facing is, when it comes to the hierarchy, we are low in the hierarchy. People will pay towards things which affect people. As humans, we will prioritize those charities which affect humans. And your charity doesn't fall in that category. Your heritage. Yeah. So the risk is we are low in the order. By the time I ask you for money, you'll say, I've already donated. I've already donated. This is the challenge we will face. Another hint. This is coming from Wetland Trust. The Wetland Trust. Over there, it's economic recession. So the risk over there was that people will not donate money for animals because humans are in a terrible condition right now. So they will prioritize saving human lives first. And then if once that problem is over, then they will start thinking about, yeah, there are only 50 rhinos left. There are only 20 pandas left and this and that. Then that will become your concern. Then you will be concerned about those things. All these problems are taken care of when humans are not in problems. Make sense? Yeah? Okay. At present, there is a recession. Confirmed. Confirmed. And as a result, many charities have seen a fall in donations. So you know what is happening in the exam. Donations are going down. Donations are going to go down. Now, what I have noticed is, especially when you go to UNICEF website. So I'm giving you a real life example. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when we went to UNICEF's website, minimum ticket size of donation, $100, $200, $300. Now, $5 will also work. $5, $10, other amount. You give the amount. It means it's not the amount anymore. It's the volume. Earlier, maybe you had 100 donors and each donor gave you $100. Today, you can't get that money from 100 donors. You'll have to widen your pool. You'll have to figure out a way how I can reach out to 1,000 people. And if 1,000 people can pay $10 each, I'm fine. Do you get the point? Yeah. So this is going to become our challenge here. We will have to widen the donation pool because the donation amount will go down. Recession, right? Recession. People would want to save money for themselves also. What if we lose our jobs? Then what happens? Right? So we'll have to widen the donation pool. We'll have to widen our revenue streams. We'll have to think of other ways. Meaning we need to start reducing our reliance on donations. Maybe there are other income streams. We need to start focusing on that. Because I can see this area going down. Correct. Other income streams. Correct. Yeah. Or like how we see organizations do here, we will name the station after you. So we can put your company banners over there. And if it's a landmark area, you can use some space for advertising as well, billboard advertising and things like these. So you are trying to explore other income streams here, reducing your reliance on these donations. Yeah. Now, here are some of the financial indicators for income and expense: membership fees, donations, site admission fees, income from commercial activities, income generated per visitor from shop and catering activities. Similarly, for expenses, site operating costs, site maintenance, conservation cost, admin expense, employee cost, operating margin, overall surplus of income over expenditure. Non-financial indicators: number of members, donors, volunteers, visitors to site, number of educational visits to sites, training days for staff and volunteers, trainees employed. So how many of the trainees or volunteers ended up becoming employees in your company? Number of hours spent on conservation objects worked on, those artifacts, those things which you are recovering of heritage importance. You would have worked on them to make them preservable. Maintenance projects completed, upgrading your building and all. Feedback from members and visitors, feedback from employees and volunteers. So maybe in one of the exhibits, because there will be two variants in the exam, morning and afternoon. So I have to predict more. I can't predict 3 areas. I have to predict at least 6, 7 areas then. Two variants you will have, right? So maybe there will be a feedback survey. Now this feedback survey will carry some complaints. Now this could be from members and visitors. I visited the place and I found it was closed. I bought a ticket. When I inquired, they said it's closed for the day because rains are expected today. Okay, why was your system not reflecting it? Okay. So it might come from members and visitors. It might come from employees and volunteers also. Volunteers have said we don't feel they don't show respect towards us. One of the days we were not feeling well, but we were still asked to come and volunteer. They need to understand we are not full-time employees. We cannot be here all the time. So maybe comments like these will be shared. And then based on the survey, we will have to respond that what all changes we need to make so that their grievances go down. We don't have these problems again. Percentage of annual members renewing. We spoke about this membership renewal process. Again, environmental resource consumption, wastage, percentage of energy obtained from renewable. I was discussing solar panels and all that earlier. Waste and recycling rates. Are you creating awareness campaigns in your places about recycle and all that? Maybe school visits will become more important now. There's a lot more to visiting you, more than the heritage. So you are trying to bring some modernization as well. And modern day, we talk about environment, emissions. Now, what I'm predicting here is that one of the exhibits, you'll get 3 or 4 exhibits in the exam. One of the exhibits will get some stats, some figures. Maybe they will share with you 2 years of data. So one variant will have this 2 years of data. Okay, year 1 and year 2 on your incomes and your expenses. Maybe last year you were surplus. This year you have become deficit. And they will ask you to analyze that. Possible. Another variant of the exam could consider what I was telling you here. Maybe they will get something on survey on employees or members and visitors. They will share with us their feedback. Your rating has gone down. So there is a rating section at the top and there is another table given which has the comments from the people. And you will be asked to analyze these comments. Why is this happening and what do we need to do to address this? That could be a question. Okay, there's a reason why all of this is there. Details of this will come in the exhibit. Yeah? Please, please. That can also be there. No ratios. Ratios, when you say, then they will become gross margin, net margin, no ratio. You can do calculations. Growth in income, that's not a ratio, right? That is a calculation. Okay, you can say growth in income, growth in expense. You can also, let's say you have total income for both the years, year 1, year 2. You can say in year 1, membership fees was the highest percentage of income. But in year 2, maybe donations have become number 1 and membership fees has become number 2. Why? Because in the non-financial, where have they given? Number of members are going down and number of donors are increasing. You see? Then admin fees. I'm giving you an idea. How will you do analysis? In your admin fee, admin expenses have increased. Why? You'll say number of volunteers have gone down. when we had to recruit more people. That's why the admin fees has increased. And that's why we made we had a deficit in year 2. This is how this will come. Finish that. No potential of that. No NPV, no payback, no IRR. Khalas, finish, throw it away. It's not coming in this exam. Contribution per limiting factor, all that wiped out. No chance. But this one variant will have this for sure. Who will be? We'll wait for that. Easily. See, if they give you four to five areas in income, 4 to 5 areas in expense. 1 point you can write for each and everything, right? Easily, this is 8 marks. Then they will give you some commentary also under it. You will use that also in your answer. Minimum 12 to 16, easily they can take this out. So make 2 points. One on what is happening, and second, what additional could happen if this is not addressed. Then you will do an overall conclusion also. Correct. So talk about the nature of it. Absolutely. Yes, these are all and these are all part of past paper answers also. All what you just said right now. That when we lose members, it's dangerous because this is recurring income. We are losing out on income which we could have potentially got for n number of years. Whereas donations are one-off. And we want to cut down our reliance on that, especially in a recession. Especially in a recession. You become more vulnerable as a charity. Very good. Yes, you know now where are we going? Where are we heading towards? This is exactly what may happen in the exam. Good. Okay, so from here, HP. HP operates in the heritage charity sector and was founded 120 years ago. Quite an old charity. HP is a large charity which looks after around 350 sites. Your cost burden might be very high. And over 300 years old, many of the sites are castles or museums. It does not look after any sites with religious connections. HP is a company limited by guarantee. We know that. HP's senior management and most admin staff are based at head office in the country's capital city. Okay. HP's commercial activities are undertaken by a subsidiary which HP wholly owns. We know this also. We've been told about this in the first page that any commercial activities are not directly taken care by under the charity, but you have to create another license, another company under which commercial activities are allowed. Because as far as the charity is concerned, your objective is not to make money. You are a charity, welfare. Okay. Now, I again have a gut feeling here. You're 120 years ago. If you have senior directors who have been working in this company, of course, not for 120 years, but maybe for 20 years, then you know we have a problem. And that problem could be lack of diversity. Maybe 6 marks. And then related to this question, importance of CPD, another 6 marks. Here you go, a 12-marker question for you. 6 marks. Why is it important to have diversity at the board level? Because maybe they will give you profile of the people. One is 55 years old, another is 60 years old, another is 70 years old. And they all have been working here for a good number of years. And they are all friends with one of the senior members. And you're saying, oh, we need to bring fresh blood, new people, fresh pair of eyes, new ideas. For that, we'll have to get rid of these people first. So diversity. Then in the next case, if you can't get rid of them, at least you can encourage them to change. How can you encourage them to change? If they go for trainings, workshops, orientations, maybe that will widen their ideas. They'll be like, oh, we can change. So importance of CPD. These two questions are quite likely here. considering it's a very old business. It's a very old organization. Yeah. Mission and values. HP's mission is that it permanently protects and preserves sites entrusted to it and promotes interest in and access to them. Broadly, I see two things here. You want to protect and preserve the site, and at the same time, you want to make it accessible and develop interest in it. Usually, these two things are inversely related. If you have more people visiting the place, there will be more wear and tear. And instead of preserving the place, you will end up damaging the place. But the way you have tied this up is people who will visit the place will pay for the ticket. You will take that money and you will provide for maintenance of that site with that money. That's how you have made it preservable. Let me give you an example of this. Hunting is banned. Hunting of certain animals is not allowed in certain countries. You can't. But this doesn't mean that there is no hunting going on. Hunting happens under regulation. For example, there will be an annual tournament, and to participate in that annual tournament, you have to pay $200,000. And we will allow you to hunt. Okay? You will kill that animal, you will shoot that animal, and people will say, oh, you killed one animal. But with that $200,000, maybe they will allow a lot of other animals which were going towards extinction. They will provide them with sanctuaries. They'll create an environment where breeding of such animals can take place so that it starts to multiply. And then you'll say, listen, this is how we have overcome the wildlife extinction of certain animals. So the point I'm trying to make here is, if you want to protect a place, you don't ban people from going to that place. That's not the solution. The solution here is you tie up the economic interest. You visit, you pay, and with your money, we will make this place better. That's what you do. And that's how you create an existence for yourself as a charity. That's why we exist. That's the purpose of HP. So that's the mission. Now, why is it important to understand this mission? Because if we get a question on stakeholders, we will have to see if the stakeholders' interests align with our mission. Because if they don't, then we have a problem. If you are aligned with my mission, it's easy for me to handle you. We are on one page. But if you don't, then there's a problem, there's a conflict here. And we'll have to resolve that conflict. It's not easy to resolve these conflicts. As a customer, if you are not willing to pay, as a visitor, if you are not willing to pay to enter this place, I have a problem here because I need you to pay to preserve this place. If you stop paying, I will not be able to preserve this place. Then there's a conflict. You see? So this is what we will have to monitor in the exam. This will help us with stakeholder analysis. The values which HP promotes, now this will give us some hint. Historical truth, accessibility. Now this is one thing which I really love about, many things I love about Dubai, but this is one of those things which I love a lot about this place. Any place you go here, any place, there will be parking, entrance for people who are on wheelchairs or differently abled. So that inclusivity is there. You don't feel left out. Oh, because I'm differently abled, therefore I cannot visit XYZ place. No, you can. There's an entrance made for you. Even metro, you have seen there are special entrances made for them, for all people. This is inclusivity. Now, accessibility, these are old buildings, 300, more than 300 years old. They will not have such accessibility. Have you done that? Have you made your museums and heritage sites and castles accessible to the differently abled people? And this could help you bring more income. This can help you bring more people. Okay, I have been to museums where they have they have these description about the pottery or the artifacts kept there, that this was discovered in so and so BC, and all that is mentioned. They have put in Braille language also. So if someone is blind, they'll just feel those letters in there and they'll be able to understand. So all of this becomes very important. So differently abled or visually impaired. This is going to be very important for us, guys, because we want to show that we are a charity after all, right? We need to show this sort of compassion towards other stakeholders. Not only will they come to visit us then, but this will create a positive image also of us. Enjoyment. So you do events at the place, involvement, volunteer, all those ideas came from you, how you are including. So if you have staff events and you say volunteers, you're not staff, you're not invited. No, that's not good. That's not good. You should invite them as well. Maybe one of the volunteers has complained that I felt terrible when I was not invited to the company dinner. It means they don't consider us as staff. Not good. We want involvement. Transparency. As a volunteer, I want to get access to some of the data, but they haven't given me any access because they say I'm not an employee here. Not good. Donors. Maybe one of the donor has reached out to you saying, I will donate if you tell me how is my $100 going to be spent? How much will go in admin and how much will go in charity? And you go back to them, sorry, we cannot provide you this information. Okay, you can't give me information, I can't give you my money. So if a donor, a member asks you for record, tell me, I've given you money in the past, how have you used it? Or I want to give you money, but before that, give me this information. And you say, sorry, I can't give you that. Well, that's not good. You're not being transparent. Inclusivity, diversity in the board, in your employees. This could be gender also, women participation. This could be age also. This could be skill also. So in different ways, you can bring these points. And social and environmental responsibility and stewardship, meaning how do you take care of the society and the environment? So if there is crime rate around your museums and castles, what are you doing for it? If there is wear and tear, carbon emissions, what have you done to cut that down? Sorry, you were saying something?
I have a question. I've come to realize that usually missions are for particular word. And I was wondering why in particular they put the word permanent before HP's mission is like it permanently protecting.
It means they have the possession over it forever. So it's not like they're saying we will not get into this for 5 years. Ongoing. The charity, because it's an old charity, right? So they might have had castles for 100 years. Yeah, they're not giving. They say we'll take care of it. Once we have it, we'll take care of it. Governance. Here you go. 2-tier governance structure. We've discussed this. Yeah. So we have a 2-tier governance structure. One is board of trustees and the other is board of executive directors. The board of trustees is responsible for overall control and management of HP and for developing its strategies in consultation with the board of executive directors. So they consult them, but they call the shots, the trustees. So the board of trustees has audit, nomination, and remuneration committee. Okay. 3 committees. I understand risk is not important. Like risk committee, maybe risks are there. Don't take me wrong. Risks might be there. But maybe you would be having your audit committee do that. Audit the risks. So the board of trustees has 9 members. The chair. There are 5 nominated trustees. And the remaining 3 are member elected trustees. So you have given importance to your members. Who are members? Who are members? Correct. The people who give you every year the donations, right? They are your members. So you've given them also some of the rights that you can also vote for 3 of the trustees. The chair is appointed by the trustees and does not have a fixed term of office. HP's members do not vote on the appointment of the chair. There should have been a term. If there is resistance coming and you would want to get rid of them and get someone else to do, but the resistance most likely will come from maybe the executive directors, not from the trustees maybe. Here the problem will be diversity. They're too old. Then you have 5 trustees who are nominated by HP's nomination committee. So we are the nomination committee and we would nominate the trustees. This is not strange. This is common in charities that we are the trustees and we will nominate amongst us. So if I'm leaving, I would want my fellow trustees to nominate who could take my place here, because we are not salaried individuals. We don't have any financial interests here. Their appointment is subject to confirmation vote by HP's members. What it gets, it has to be confirmed by the members. If they are confirmed in office by the vote, they will then serve for 3 years and they can seek reappointment. So guys, the voting is done. The appointment is done by the committee, which is the trustees, but the confirmation vote is done by the members. So you have given importance to members here again, which means if members say no, so get nominate someone else now. So if you remember, I taught you veto power. Remember veto? So these members have a veto power. If you all said yes, I said no, no. So if the members say no, then your yes doesn't matter. Then you have those trustees which are handpicked by the members. So 3 trustees are elected by HP's members at the charity's annual general meeting. So here the nomination committee is not nominating them. We are, as members, we are nominating them and we are voting over them. Trustees elected by the members also serve for 3 years and can seek re-election at the end of the 3 years. So actually both are picked up by members, nominated as well as member elected. The only difference is in the nominated category, the nomination committee will nominate them, member will vote for them. In member elected, member will nominate and vote. That's the difference. Okay. The board of trustees is yes.
If I understand, does it mean the 9 will then select the chair? The 8, sorry.
The 8 will, yes. Correct.
The problem was
Yes. No, but I get your point. You're saying the 5 and 3, right? But there might have been a chair already in place. Think of it this way. So there is a chair, but every 3 years, because the chair does not have a fixed term. But every 3 years, we are changing these people. But as soon as the chair resigns, let's say, or retires, whatever the reason is, then these 8 people will end up selecting one amongst them as a chair. So these 8 will come down to 7. And if that drop is in the nominated trustee, so we need one from here, or if the drop is from the member elected, then we will need one from here. New trustee. This is how it will happen. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Excellent, but I'm thinking of,
Because this guy does not have a fixed term.
because I'm thinking there's probably one of the explaining how the chairperson.
Quite possible. Quite possible. So you are one. Maybe 5 years ago, you were a nominated trustee. Today, you have become the chair. Possible. Possible. And members don't have control over this. Correct. Members don't have power over this, right?
But if he's being controlled by the trustees, then he can check on behalf of the trustees.
But members choose the people who choose the chair. So they can still exercise some influence through the trustees.
The trustees first. So there's a bigger number of the nomination people, like 5.
Absolutely. Agreed.
The new people coming from one side.
Agreed. So we have a problem here, and that is lack of balance between these two. So it's not about executive director and non-executive director. There is a lack of balance between the nominated and the member elected trustees. They should have been equal ideally. Absolutely. And the chair can use his or her influence to get the nominated trustees, right? I mean, they can use their influence here through the committee
Trustees could use their influence
to get the chair. And the same chair in return can use their influence to get the people whom he or she likes. That is possible. Yeah, but if you keep taking those people, yeah. Yeah. Correct. That is also possible. Possible. Yes, it is quite possible. Yeah. You have something in the chat also. Can you explain the structure again, please? I'm a bit lost on the whole voting and whatnot. Okay, sure. CPD is continuous professional development. So that is also part of our syllabus, and that is something we all professionals have to keep ourselves up to date. So if there are any changes happening in our work, in our roles, we keep ourselves up to date. So as a director, you are holding a key position, a key office. You have to remain professionally competent. You have to attend some trainings. So that is CPD. Now, as far as explaining the structure is concerned, let's try to understand this, that you have a breakdown like this, 9 people, of which one is your chair. The other 5 are your nominated trustees, and the other 3 are elected by your members, the people who give donations to you every year. So the 3 people are elected by members. I'm just trying to simplify this so you don't have to every time read all of this. But the 5 trustees here are selected by the nomination committee. I'll write here NC. Now we've been told what is the nomination committee. Okay, what is the nomination? The trustees are the nomination committee. It means all of us together will decide. So if any one quits from the 5, the other 8 will decide whom do we want to nominate. Now within these 8, maybe we have given 2 or 3 people the responsibility of nomination. Maybe 2 of them are from the nominated trustees part and 1 of them is from the member elected trustees. It's just like, think of it in this way. It is your board of directors only who serve in the committees. It's the same executive and the same non-executive directors who are part of risk committee. The same non-executive directors are part of audit committee, correct? So for a moment, I want you to think, I know it's not the case here, but I still want you to think this, that member elected trustees are non-executive directors. And nominated trustees are sort of executive directors. They are not. They are not. I'm repeating this again. But to understand this better, think of it like this. Now, why do I consider nominated trustees as, okay, let's call them less non-executive. They are both non-executive, but one of the categories less non-executive, less independent, less objective, because they are nominated by our own people. And we might try to bring our friends and people whom we know into this. Maybe we will not reveal all their details to the members. We'll just share good things about them to the members. So when it goes to the members will say, we don't see a problem here. This person fits well. Okay, we approve. Go ahead. Is this okay, Mohammed? Understood?
Yeah, kind of. Just I have a question in mind. Now, there was a definition for the trustees that they are the individuals that they place their trust on the executive management. Now, since the trustees are the one giving the money to this charity, why would there will be a nomination for those trustees? Because isn't it like the charity needs them more than they need them?
So trustees are not giving the charity. Donors and members are giving the charity. Trustees are acting like a bank here, that we will ensure that your money is safe and your money is not being wasted. The directors will use the money. The trustees will keep an eye on the directors that the money is not being wasted.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. The board of trustees is supported by board of executive directors. Now comes the executive board. The executive board of directors are appointed by the board of trustees on the advice of the nomination committee. Guys, out of all the committees, they are emphasizing on nomination committee here. HP's members do not vote on the appointment of directors. The executive board is responsible for the day-to-day management of the operations of HP. The executive board is headed by the CEO. And now comes the remuneration committee. The remuneration of the executive board members, including the chief executive officer, is determined by the remuneration committee. So two committees have already been mentioned to us, nomination and remuneration committee. Yeah. Do you see any risks here? Without much information, what kind of risk do you see already?
I'm taking it from a live
Yes, yes, please.
Okay.
Go on, go on, go on.
So, because of the fact that there's five executive trustees that are on the board, that are kind of spread into the major committees, I've seen a cycle where they control the chairperson's position using those five. Nomination committee, they will nominate the five, but they keep another person.
Because they have a higher vote, right?
So
If these
they
five are
keep
united.
somebody who they want to, who they have the power to nominate, and they keep on nominating their own people there. Because once they nominate and they put something before the AGM cannot say we don't want this person after the meeting. They have
Of
to
course.
vote,
AGM, in the AGM, you could give two people and both the people are controlled by you.
Exactly.
Right? So that is always possible.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it has been a cycle where the chairperson keeps on being somebody who they want. So it's planned already that who's going to be the chairperson, how is it going to move? You can easily plan to say this.
So ideally, the chairperson should also be appointed by members. Ideally, right? Ideally. Okay, very good. So the nominated members can influence the chair and the committees. How can they influence the committees? They'll be bigger in numbers in the committees. We know that already the nomination ones, they are higher in number. There are 5 trustees. Okay. And that's why I said balance is important here. Because they are higher in numbers, they can exercise their influence and they can get key people whom they know or whom they are very friendly and casual with. They can get them as executive directors. See, the trustees don't get a pay, so they have a reason. Remember this. Trustees don't get paid. We've been told they don't get paid. They don't work on salaries, or they don't have a package, which means if they want to make money from the charity, what will they do? They will get people in the management who will be their touts, who will actually be their people planted by them, and they will do what they want, and they could have financial interests this way. The only good part here is, the only hope I have is that you can do this for 3 years only. But the problem is the damage could be of that extent. Yeah, chair can control this for a very long time. But here, they've said for 3 years, but they can seek reappointment. So if you are not happy with any of their behaviors, members can say, we will not vote for them. You can get rid of them. But then what has happened in these 3 years could be a cause of concern. Right? Okay, this means that definitely we need to change some of the structures up there. We need to give more involvement to the members. We need to give more power to the members here. Right? Like you maybe increase that number, swap it. 3 should be nominated, 5 must be handpicked by members. So give more say to the members. And chair. And the chair must be appointed by the members as well. Key role. Correct. Correct. This thing of unlimited term, this is very dangerous in any position. Yes, very, very dangerous. There should be a fixed term for the chair as well. Yes. Good.
Executive board being headed by CEO alone, usually that is considered too much power, only one person side. That is why they expect chair and the CEO.
But in a 2-tier board, the power anyways gets diluted, right? It's not a unitary board. So that principal agency split will be very evident, that you are a trustee and here you go, you are a director. Okay, so we don't expect trustees to micromanage. We don't expect trustees to get into the operational involvement. Like what should be the price of the admission ticket? What should our website look like? What we expect from the trustees is that when the directors reach out to them and tell them that we want to build a website and we will increase the earnings of the charity this way, what we expect from the trustees is to review it and see that be skeptical and check whether the director's ideas are good enough or not. That's what we expect. So the work will mainly be done by the directors only, the board you have of management, but we expect the trustees to oversee that work. That's all what we want. Because they'll not come to office every day. They will not be available all the time. So maybe they'll set a time when you have to take all things to them. They will review it together and then they'll make some key decisions on that day. That's how it will work. Yeah, nothing over here has been. But for nomination and the other one, remuneration committee, they have already picked up. They could make a question, no denial. They can make a question on audit committee because audit is compulsory. They have told us on the member nominated. It can be, yes. Because we are questioning their independence here, right? We are actually questioning their independence. No, they have, but they haven't given us much info on that. That's what he's saying. It says that the committee is mentioned, but like how for nomination, they've given us so much information that how it works. For audit, they haven't. Commercially, I don't know that. We'll have to wait for some information. What kind of risks are you facing here? I think the audit committee currently, based on my current understanding of this pre-scene, I think the audit committee can provide you that expertise. So maybe they can review your internal controls, they can review your risk policies, because you're not a very commercial business, right? So I'm not saying that risk is not important. It is very important. Risk management is very, very important. But do we really need to have a committee? And maybe there is a case of an evaluation here. There could be points in favor of having a risk committee, and there can equally be points against having a risk committee. Too expensive, for example. Again, our admin costs will go up.
I was looking at the fact that we only have 3 committees, 9 people, 2 per each committee, 3 per each committee.
No, we can be shared also. Yes, I can work on 2 committees, no problem. You can be part of 2 committees. You can be part of audit and you can be part of a remuneration committee. That is not a problem.
Because I was looking at the fact that it's only 3 who are elected.
Because that is how trustees will make policies, through committees only, right? So you have to be part of any number of, you can be part of all 3 committees also. This is your board structure. If you are getting a question on staff survey, then I think HR director's role will become very important there. If you are getting a question on membership renewal process, then the marketing director and the IT director need to work very closely on it. So here is another small prediction that if you are planning on launching a new website, you are developing something new, or an e-commerce platform, something on those lines, this could be a project. And if it is a project, then this could be a project management. The last chapter, which we covered in the class, yeah. And if it is project management, then maybe the project sponsor here could be the board of trustees, the people who have entrusted you. Yes, fine, we'll release funds, special funds for this. But the project manager here could be some specific directors you will identify. Like I said, depending on the case, maybe the IT and the marketing director, both of them will be project managers in this instance. So this can be a case where we have been asked to, if there is a question on to analyze the financials, the incomes and the expenses, most likely we will be writing a memo or a report or a briefing paper to the finance director. Operations, I can't think of currently, but these are the 4 directors I think they will have a role to play, and maybe we will be writing or addressing them to them in the exam. Yeah, so that's
People that are contracted.
correct. So maintenance and all will fall under operations director. Correct. Correct. Internal controls also operations will have to be part of, because processes, they'll work on processes. Code of conduct. HP has a code of conduct which trustees, executive directors, other paid employees, and volunteers are expected to follow. This code includes core principles relating to professional behavior, commitment, adherence to decisions made by the boards, confidentiality, conflicts of interest, and bribery. We'll have to wait for the exhibits. On the website and maybe in your reporting, you will always preach good things. You've seen this in your past papers all the time. But maybe in reality, they have breached any 1 or 2 things from here. So that could be a risk for us. Acquisition of sites. I think this is an area which is prone to corruption. This is an area which is prone to bribes. How do you get hold of these sites? HP acquires buildings and other sites as gifts from previous owners, or by purchasing them using HP's surplus funds. HP will only acquire sites which are of national importance and are under threat of destruction or deterioration over time. Do you remember we were told that any commercial activity is taken place under subsidiaries? Do you remember that? So let me tell you how there can be bribes and problems which can be taking place. So let's say there is a historical building. HP wants to buy this. Trustees have approved the funds also. Let's say the price is given to us is 10 million. But now we've come to know that this building has been purchased by a company called A. And A is telling HP that if you want to buy this building from me, you will have to pay 11 million. And after a while, we come to know that this company is owned by a relative of any of our trustees. So the trustee does not own this building, but maybe a friend, an affiliation, family member owns this company. This person gave insight that I know we have the budget, we'll be buying a site. Why don't you go and you buy that site before us and then give it to us at a higher amount? And there you go, this company makes 1 million extra. This is wrong, of course. This is insider information, which you may have shared in advance with someone just to make some commercial money, some money interests you have in this instance, possible. Operational activities. Every HP site is open to members and other visitors. An admission charge is payable by non-members to access the sites. This amount charged varies between sites depending on what can be seen at the sites. So some are expensive maybe and some are cheap. How often sites are open also varies. Some are open on weekends, some are open late in the evenings, some are not. Sites must sometimes be closed for a period of maintenance, and opening times can also depend on their staffing levels. So if the number of volunteers will get affected, you know this will affect the opening times of some of your sites. So they can create a massive impact. And if your opening times get affected, it means your admissions income will also get affected. HP aims to enhance the experience of visitors to its sites by providing guides to give tours and answer questions about the sites, on-site information, and exhibition about aspects of the site history. It also aims to stimulate interest by, for example, encouraging children to spot features at a site or objects kept there. Brilliant, very good, nothing wrong here. But can you also make this online? Can we also take this online and reach out to a wider audience, and they can pay small sums, small amounts, and the automated guides online, it's all automated these days. You click on something and it reads out, you know what it is. All of this can be done. HP's education objective is focused on hosting visits of groups of school children. They're repeating this information. We've seen this before. You'll see a lot. This is the problem in this pre-scene. A lot of things related to this has already come in the industry overview. Yeah. So I'm just going to read this very quick because we've discussed this already. Groups of school children, explaining to them the significance of what they are visiting. Sites also offer special events, including performances about the sites. History aimed at children and families. We've read this. Every site has a shop. We know this. Restaurants, catering, they've mentioned that already. The size of the shop determines what is stocked there. Every site also has catering facilities where visitors can sit down and eat. Smaller sites only provide snacks and drinks. Larger sites offer full meals. Okay, I have an idea. I've seen this in the cinema. In COVID, what happened is they opened up the catering section on Talabat and Noon. So if you want to buy popcorn, if you want to buy nachos, do you remember that? Right? Earlier, this was not the case. So only if you are buying a cinema ticket, then only you get access to their restaurants, right? But it's still there now because it worked. That strategy worked. So now you don't have to go to the cinema to eat nachos. You can order it also. Okay. So the point here is, can you order online? So you, even when the museum is closed, you still have another income, passive income coming. You're still making money through online orders. They've told us about the best known sites. They've mentioned some names here, 5 names here. These are your best known sites. So it means these are places, yeah, these are places which you can monetize more because maybe they attract more visitors. Also, if they are best known, why are they best known? What has gone so well there? Can we try and replicate that on the other sites and make them? Can we introduce package pricing? Pay one price and you get access to 10 sites, 20 sites, 50 sites. Can we do something like this? How much we have? 300, 350 sites? 350 sites. So can we do some form of bundle pricing that you pay one price and you have access to all our sites? Something on those lines. Stakeholders is also getting repeated. Let's see if there's something significant here. HP has around 5 million members. Wow. HP offers annual memberships only. Benefits of membership include free admission to sites and regular newsletters and emails. Members have the right to attend HP's annual general meeting. Yeah, they have to nominate also. They can vote on the appointment of trustees, receive HP's annual report and financial statements, and approve the appointment of the auditors. They can also submit resolutions which are not binding on the trustees, but which the trustees must take into consideration. Oh, interesting. So they can make decisions. It's not compulsory for the trustees to do it, not compulsory, but they can factor it in when they make their decision. So if you don't follow my instructions, the best I can do is after 3 years, if I'm unhappy with you, I'll not vote for you. But I'll have to wait 3 years for that. Right? So I said, this is how you should make a decision, but you did not do that. I don't like you now. But I cannot maybe get rid of you right now. After 3 years, when you submit yourself for re-election, maybe that is when I will not vote for you again. Yeah. Auditors. Yeah. But appointment, right? Yeah, but that audit committee will do, no? Audit committee will nominate the auditor and then you vote yes or no. Correct. That's what shareholders also do, right? Shareholders also do the same. Employees. Good. 5 million members, 4,000 employees. Good. 350 sites. 4,000 divided by 350. Employees per site. That should be a good KPI. HP has around 4,000 full and part-time employees, including staff who work for the wholly owned commercial subsidiary. So this includes everything. They work at HP's head office and sites. Some have worked for HP for a long time. Another hint. Generally, HP pays average salaries for jobs across the charity sector, which are lower than would be paid for equivalent jobs in the commercial organization. Good. Admin costs are under control. We should not be overpaying. Many employees are prepared to accept lower salaries than they would obtain outside the charity sector because of their commitment to HP's mission. Remember the mission to protect, preserve, and all that? Yeah. Okay. Volunteers. So 20,000 over 4,000. So the ratio is 1:5. For every one full-time employee, we have 5 volunteers against them. So we have 20,000 volunteers who play a very significant role in the operations. Predominantly, volunteers act as guides, work in catering facilities and shops, and help maintain sites. Maybe they want to get involved in other areas. Maybe we are not allowing them to. Suppliers and contractors. The choice of suppliers and the inventory policy of the catering facilities and shops is determined centrally by HP's procurement function. So in the value chain, procurement. HP uses external contractors for regular site maintenance and major projects. Do you take multiple quotations or not? I'm interested in that. Do you take multiple bids or quotes before selecting them? Or do you just go and select them? Yeah, we worked with you in the past, so we will select you again. So this will tell us whether you are negotiating well on the price or not. Contractors for large single projects are employed on a one-off basis. We've been told this earlier that if it's a massive maintenance, then maybe we cannot do it internally. We'll have to outsource it to a specialist, to a contractor. IT systems. If it's IT systems, you might be holding data on volunteers, on employees, on members, donors, people who bought tickets from you. If they were bought online, you have their credit card data maybe. So cyber security. So I spoke about membership renewal program, which was online. But in addition to that, even cyber security becomes important. And within cyber security, you know, it's the data security, which is the most important, the privacy laws and all about protection of the data. So HP's information systems are adequate. You're telling me adequate now, but maybe there will be a breach in the exhibit. They are adequate for its administration needs and are fully compliant with data protection regulations. HP's computerized systems cover major operational functions. So they're giving us a hint, maybe booking of tickets, major operational. HP has a website which publicizes its activities and allows donations to be made and members to join. There are separate web pages for each of HP's sites, including details about the site such as its history, maps, facilities, and news. Why can't it be one? Yeah. But I think they have separate web pages only to cover this. So anything which is more, so they have one website, but web pages are multiple. So if you click on Castle A, it will give you information on that. Castle B, another tab will open. I think that's what they mean. Yeah, so it's not multiple. I think it's not multiple websites. It's, I know you see the word sites here. Maybe that's why you're thinking it of. I think the website is one, but they may have separate web pages. I think so. Okay, because it doesn't say websites, it says web pages. Risks. HP maintains a risk register at its head office, covering significant charity-wide risks, including threats to reputation, bad publicity about HP, we've covered that, can lead to members not being willing to renew their membership. I told you that this is a key risk and this can come as a question. Donors not being willing to donate and volunteers no longer being willing to work. All these people are key stakeholders. They are key players for us on the Mendelow's matrix. Other threats to income. The recession in the country may limit donors' willingness to donate. Visiting HP sites is one of the very many leisure activities available to individuals and families, and the risks is that visits will become less popular, reducing income from admissions and commercial activities. I told you this earlier, during recession, our priorities will change. We will not have time for leisure. We will then contribute to other causes. Loss of employees and volunteers. If employees and volunteers leave and cannot be easily replaced, then the experience offered to visitors to sites may be affected and the sites may be open less frequently. We brought this up earlier. If volunteers quit, timings might change. If timings change, income from admissions will change. So you may not open for 6 hours. You'll say we are open for 4 hours only. Some conservation work requires specialist staff, and loss of these staff members may affect HP's ability to carry out work on sites or historical objects. So listen, where is our HR director? Can you please identify who are these staff members so that I don't underpay them? I might underpay others, but within the staff, can I? Okay, I don't want to overpay also, but can I still pay in line with the market then? Right? Because if I lose them, I actually end up losing more money by outsourcing the work. So I really need them. I'm happy to pay them a little more. Insufficient financial resources. If income is less than expected. So guys, if this is happening in year 2, HP may not have the financial resources to carry out all necessary conservation work. Your existing conservation work will get delayed. Delay is bad for you. It means the site is not open for a longer period of time. No future income from that site. Poor performance by suppliers and contractors. Poor quality goods provided by suppliers can reduce visitor satisfaction. Poor performance by contractors can mean that HP was not getting value for money and may also jeopardize the conservation of the buildings. Risk. Health and safety. These can affect people working at and visiting the sites. Sites have potential hazards, including slippery surfaces and steep staircases. Extreme weather may also create hazardous conditions at some sites, snowfall and all. Poor weather can affect visitor numbers if it's raining and all, where visitors are wholly or mostly outdoors. You know, a lot of the castles have outdoor spaces. Extreme weather, such as excessive heat, high winds, or rain, can damage sites. Cybersecurity. HP's computer systems face the risk of disruption, jeopardizing its admin and the services which it provides. Leakage of data held about members and donors could result in legal action. Pestel L, legal. What are the laws? Privacy laws. Loss of reputation and unwillingness of members and donors to provide their personal details. The good part is, whatever I'm reading now, we've already discussed. There's nothing new which I have to predict so far. The last 2 pages have been very boring because they've just been similar to what we read earlier. Website extract. The extract covers key actions which HP takes. We want to inspire everyone who visits us in imaginative and authentic ways. We aim to stimulate our visitors' minds and provoke their emotions. Well, I've seen people get stimulated when they are wearing those VR and you can enhance their experience. You can make them. There's this place in Sharjah, there's this museum. It's quite close to the Oman border though. So if you go there, they make you sit in the theater. They show you some fossil rock, that how that area used to be. It's called Buhes Archaeological Site. That's the name. You can visit there in your free time. It's very nice. It's 10 dirhams only. And it's a beautiful place. So they talk about the mountains and the fossil rocks which are found there. And as soon as that documentary gets over, the screen starts to move and the same mountain which they were showing you on the screen is now there behind the glass door. And that was an amazing experience. Because they started with 4 million years ago and they brought us to the present. That this is what this place looks like today. Okay. So are you doing all that? Engage and entertain. We want everyone who visits us to love the time they spend with us. We engage our visitors by bringing the fascinating true stories of our sites to life. We use creativity. You know these holograms these days? How you can bring the dead back to life. Yeah, looks real. We use creativity and imagination to delight and entertain our visitors. Light shows and all of that. Conserve. We protect sites and objects which urgently need our care, looking after them for the benefit of present and future generations. is central to everything which we do. We aim to preserve and develop our collections, increasing our understanding through expert research. Are you working with universities on that? There's a lot of research work universities do. Access to our country's history, enriches everyone's lives. We want our visitors to have the privilege of standing on the spot where history happened and to live our country's story. Involve. Millions share our belief that history is important for everyone. I don't think Gen Z believes that. I don't think the modern generation is interested in that. You have to move away from this. You have to create interest in some other way. And we want to provide opportunities for them to engage with us. Good. We rely on the generous support of our members, donors, and volunteers. The people who are not visiting your museum today will not be your donors tomorrow. Remember this. The people who will visit your museums today will land jobs tomorrow and will earn more money, and they will have an emotional attachment to you. They will start giving you donations. So if you are failing on capturing visitors today, you are losing donors from tomorrow. Sustain. We protect the future of our sites by being part of the worldwide fight against climate change. We limit our impact by using greener energy. Okay, we'll see that. Minimizing waste, we'll see that. Increasing our use of recycled resources, we'll have to see. Our performance is measured against rigorous sustainability targets. I'm interested in knowing if you miss these targets, then what happens? If you don't achieve these targets, what happens? Do you advertise them or you hide them? Because if you're hiding them, it means you're not being transparent. Yeah? Some form of reporting must be there, like IR sort. There is sustainability report also. You don't have to call it integrated report. Some companies do sustainability report also. Every quarter or every 6 months, they will publish sustainability report. So you can do that. Here are some graphs. Your income is growing at a slower pace. It is flattening out. This is risky. This is an alarm. Wake up before this goes down. We are at a crucial juncture, very crucial point we are right now. If we don't take an action in this period, the risk is this can start to go down. One of the reasons, Pestel, one of the reasons, yes. Agreed. Split of income, we are 5 million members. So understood. Majority of our income comes from members. Followed by donations. Then we have admission and shop, which looks more or less the same. And then we have catering. We are too reliant on members. We will have to start exploring on how to retain them, of course, but also how to grow donations, admission, catering, shop, and create more income streams. Advertisements, all those ideas, web sales, e-commerce, catering, food. So you're doing catering on site, but not off site maybe. So maybe you should explore that as an option. So you'll see this bar also moving to the right, and maybe you will see another revenue stream building up. Operating expenses are not flattening like income. Income was flattening. Expenses are spiking. Definitely not good. So if I look at the latest year, we've hit 800 million. And our expense is roughly 750 million. Guys, we have a very small surplus. 800 minus 750. So you know what will happen next year? Next year, we are projecting that in the next year, our expense will come here. 2 years later, it will come here. 3 years later, it will be here. And the problem is our income is falling. Year 1 here, year 2 here, year 3 here. Oh, risky. This is risky. If you look at the split of operating expenses, we are spending a lot of money on the operational expenses of the site. We have been explained, I think, on page 4 or 5. What is an operational expense? Then comes maintenance, and then comes admin. So admin right now does not seem a problem. Major problem is operational expenses because they are a major chunk of the cost. When you have a situation like this where your income is going down and your expenses are going up, if you want to save your business, it has to be from both the sides. You have to focus on increasing income and you have to focus on decreasing expenses, both sides. Then only your charity will survive. So you will have to control the increase in the expense and you will have to grow the increase in the incomes. Number of visitors graph looks like incomes graph to me. Just like how the income is flattening, the number of visitor also seems to be flattening, bending. Yeah, it's like sort of bending. So we can see it was going up and then it bent more and then it bent more. And I see the same thing with the number of members. I know membership. So this is confirming one thing. I cannot continue to rely on members. Yes, they are slowing down. The growth is slowing down. Good. Yes, this is also. So yeah, non-members are also going down then because the shape looks very similar.
You know the population of the country yet, right?
We don't know that. But if we have 5 million members, I'm assuming you must be quite a population then. Yeah, and considering our charity is the largest, but at the same time we have a recession. And maybe the recession has triggered this decrease. That's why this is happening to us. Good. Good idea, guys. You got? Yeah, so I've tried to predict as much as I could from the pre-scene. Now what I'm going to do is whatever I've predicted with you tonight, in our Saturday class, almost I would say 70% of what I have discussed today, I will make notes on it. So it will be pre-written notes. I will not make the notes in the class. Otherwise, I cannot cover more. So tomorrow is a break day. So in this for me, so what I'm doing tomorrow is I'm going to be writing all those notes, which I will introduce to you in the session 2, because I don't want you to waste your time and energy on that. And I'll try to create some assignments within it. So if there are 6 areas, maybe 5 areas I will do pre-written. 1 area I will give you time to do. And then I will show you my answer for that. So that's how we are going to go about it. So gradually you will prepare yourself for mock 1 step by step. Okay, step by step. Then in the class in between, we will do it again for 30% of the syllabus. Then you will do mock 2. What I want to see is, now let me tell you objective. There is a goal for everything, right? So there's an objective here. Of course, ultimate objective is to get you pass. But the objective short-term goal right now is that your score in mock 2 should be higher than mock 1. And your mock 1, especially all those who have come in the prep phase, your mock 1 score should be higher than your interim. So whatever you have scored in the interim, so if you scored high, your fault. Why did you score high? Yeah, you should have scored low because it would have been easier to score a higher mark. Okay, so your mock 1 score should be better because for me, when I'm analyzing your marks, I'm looking at the trend. Are you getting better every time I give you something to write? Okay, this is what I want to see, improvement. Okay, yes, please.
When I was using this, there is a part where they were saying, in the media, people are saying they're wasting money. It came to me that even if you make it using the SORP standards they were given, the financial information cannot justify the existence of the cabinet. From the angle of integrated report, is there a way we can express the value that we bring as a champion? I was just thinking maybe some angle that they could bring, for example, maybe an integrated report that could help explain why we're not wasting money.
So transparency is the key here. The more transparent you are, that's why I was talking about what some charities do is, I remember I was on one of the websites and donating money. So I don't remember the amounts. I'll just make up an amount. Let's say it was $100. So it mentioned there, from this $100, $12 will go in the admin expense and $88 will go for the cause. Do you want $100 to go in the cause? Yes or no? In that case, we will take $112 from you. So I was like, if I want to give $100 for this cause, it means I'll have to donate 112 because they will take $12 as an expense. This transparency is essential. When you start telling people that the money you will give, how much of that will go in admin expense and how much of that will go into the cause, you build trust. And then people would want to help you. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, guys. I hope this was effective. I hope this gave you some good idea. I've taken names. I just want that to be part of the record as well, because some of the students will be watching recordings tomorrow. I've taken names of NCCP, BCO, the National Museum, and the Wetland Trust. These are 4 questions which I have mentioned in the class today. These are 4 past papers. 2 of them are very, very old, which you will not, maybe, I don't know if you'll find them online or not, but I definitely have them and I will try to incorporate that in our classes. I'll try to bring them as questions to you. Okay, so we will cover everything this way. BCO is not something which I've shared with you, but you will find it online easily. I think it's 2021 or 2022. It's one of those years, which I'm also going to make it part of the training. So don't worry about that. That also I'm embedding in the training. NCCP, you guys have already watched. So you have an idea what the case is like. So no harm in this 1 day gap you have going through NCCP if you haven't gone through it. Please go through NCCP tomorrow. Only NCCP. Don't do much, please. And when you're doing NCCP or you're watching my video, try to think for heritage that today so much time, almost 4 hours we have spent on this. How can that information be tweaked if the same question comes for HP? That's what I want you to do in this 1 day. Okay. Thank you, guys. Good night.
One more two will be on not to chat or